here we are, this is who we are.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for more One Direction. Not One Direction, sorry. Zayn,
One of the One Direction.
For Z Quad or Squad, or I don't know how to say it now.
Squad.
Squad. Not the Zaniacs.
You know what, Nathan? We can change it. Let's change the direction. Let's change the direction of this directioner by saying Zayn fans will now be known as Zaniacs. We're going to start the movement now. Hashtag Zaniacs.
This was a request from some of our patrons. And it's a little group that got together, and that happens every once in a while. It's great.
I love it. We love it. That's the way to do it. What's it called? Crowdsourcing your request. Absolutely. Yeah.
So Alia, ML, and Bex have given this request.
Yeah, so we're doing Zayn being interviewed in, I think it was like July or August of 2023. So not too long ago, but a year and a half ago. He's on a podcast called Call Her Daddy or Call Me Daddy or Call Her Daddy. The little bit I know of the show, it started in 2018 as a podcast. When it first started, it was more focusing on sort of like raunchy, sex positive type stuff, dating, relationships, hookup culture. Then the two hosts had a breakup, Nathan. They had a high profile falling out, kind of like what you and I will have in about 2 years. So in 2020, they had a high profile falling out. One person left the podcast. The other individual that we'll see here, her name is Alexandra Cooper. She is now just the one host of the podcast. And since the rebranding, so to speak, so they kept the name Call Her Daddy. It's not the greatest name, but that's how the podcast started. But they kept the name, but now it's a little bit more about, emotional conversations with some humor and pop culture like mixed in as well. So Alexandra, she's 30 years old. She already has a net worth of $60 million to her credit. So good for her to do that in the podcasting world. And so Zayn sat down with her in July, August of 2023 to talk about stuff. That's the background. So saddle up, straddle in, Zaniacs. Here we go. People like it.
Bex gets the credit for suggesting this.
Was it Bex that suggested the Zaniac?
Yes.
Oh, it's right there. Yes, Bex, you
as per this text here.
So there you go. So hashtag Bex gets credit for Zaniacs. All right. What else was I going to say? Something else, Nathan, that was on the tip of my tongue, and I do apologize. Oh, that's what I was going to say. There's people who are watching this right now, Nathan, with us on our Patreon, who actually haven't heard or seen this whole interview. So that's kind of cool. We're going to be,
So it'd be like their first time.
Yeah. And side note, that it is a Spotify exclusive podcast. So I think somebody ripped the video from Spotify, put it on YouTube. Okay. And that person who did it is Spanish. So you're going to see Spanish subtitles. We have no control over this. All right.
Hey, Zayn, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Hey.
I'm so happy that you're here. We have to preface this with my fans are watching this like, where the fuck are you guys? We are in my childhood home, Daddy Gang, okay? Zayn and I are in my living room that I grew up in. Zayn got here and has had to look at all the embarrassing childhood photos of me. Thank you so much for coming. I've never done an interview.
Just give me a second to decompress because I want to focus on Zayn. We're here to comment on Zayn. So far, not the greatest first impression. We've seen some interviews with, remember we watched that one with Liam? That guy was great, the CEO guy.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a couple others that he's interviewed. I kind of like him. Yeah.
So her flavor's not my flavor. She's also very successful and has a huge fan base. But right away, if I was like flipping podcast channels and that was the intro I heard, I'd be like, I can't.
Give her a chance, man.
I did. That is the first. Okay, so people say it gets better. So that's just the first impression. People have the same first impression with me, and they get to know me.
I know. Strike one from Ryan. That's okay.
That's okay. She's also very pretty. She's very bubbly. So those are pluses. She's easy to look at because I'm here for Zayn. Maybe Zayn brings her down, if you know what I mean, because he's so calm.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I didn't see any embarrassing photos. I think you hid them all.
Actually, there's a couple. You'll see them on your way out, and then you'll never look at me the same. I have never done a podcast in my childhood home. So this feels like a little sentimental. Also, you never really do interviews.
I don't.
When is the last time you did something like this?
I think I did an interview like 6 years ago. was the last time I did one.
So we're kind of like popping the cherry back off.
I think so, yeah.
You're getting
something like that. Yeah.
So you're living in Pennsylvania, and I obviously grew up here. I loved it growing up. It's very family oriented, very suburban.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to know, of all the trendy spots that you could have picked, why Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people ask me that. They always think it's super random that I live out here. I ended up coming out here with my ex a bit.
Oh, so she's from here as well. So I guess that's the connection, maybe. Because isn't that where he had the farm? That's where he lives now, is on the farm? Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess to some degree that's her credit. Because I don't think she does her podcast from her living room. So I guess I would just word it, it's crazy you happen to have residents in the very area that or state that I grew up in. It's pretty crazy. What do you think of it here? Why'd you choose it here? Because I was raised here. It's unique in its own way. What brought Zayn to my home state? But anyways, that's basically what she's saying. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I fell in love with it. Like, it was just super, like, calm and chill, like you said, suburban. And I just wanted to take a break from, like, the busy city, because, like, I was living in New York for 3 years at the time. And it just got a bit overwhelming, you know, like, going out of your door to, like, just craziness all the time. So I just wanted a bit more of a surrounding that, like, I'm used to, like where I grew up in Bradford, like in the UK. It's a lot more this kind of pace and vibe. So I feel like I just fit in better around here than I do in the trendy spots, as it were. you know.
You give trendy vibes, but I think I totally relate to that. Of sometimes when you get
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I give trendy vibes.
You give trendy vibes. Look at your outfit. It's like pretty swaggy, but then you're also like hanging with the Amish folk. So it's like a good little juxtaposition, Zayn. Okay.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting.
Does he, or is that just a joke? I'm actually a little confused.
Maybe does he actually?
Yeah, I'm
hang
just
out with
because
the
it wouldn't
Amish?
surprise me, but I just didn't know if that was a joke or she's just saying because Pennsylvania has Amish people, so you're here instead of at the clubs. So again, she's just wording things differently than I would have. I would have said again, just something like, this is obviously very different than New York. I can see why something tranquil, peaceful is a good place to rest your weary head, so to speak. And Zayn sounds a little bit. It is a joke. I figure it's hanging out with the. I would love to see it that reality show though. Zayn with the Amish, that'd be great. I think the Amish people might be more in Zayn than Zayn, if that makes sense. Zayn's very zen. Zayn is zen.
Yeah, he would be calm enough that it wouldn't. That I don't even think that would really push him one way or the other.
No, they would be. They'd be like he'd fit right in with the community. I think he'd probably like that.
Is I love that you said you would be in New York City, and I'm assuming you would be going out and there's paparazzi everywhere taking photos of you. Pennsylvania, there ain't no paparazzi.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Are they finding you or no?
No, there's none out here. I think there's laws and stuff. They're not allowed to even take photos in certain places. And
Oh, that's amazing.
So, yeah, it's cool.
Okay, the most important question, have you gone to Wawa yet?
I have.
Okay. Oh, it's a restaurant, fast food restaurant. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought there's laws against that. I wonder if that's true. Could someone research that, if you don't mind? As far as I know, I could be wrong. It's not illegal to take photos of anybody in the public. If you're in public, there's no right to privacy.
It could be laws in Pennsylvania. That could be part of why he's there.
Oh, yeah, that could be one of the reasons. But even she seems surprised by that information. She's from there, so I'm just curious. Or is she the one that brought that up? I can't remember now.
Right. No, he brought that up, I think.
Yeah, he brought it up. Okay.
Wawa's a nighttime lifesaver out here.
I was like, how am I going to get along with Zayn if he hasn't had a love for Wawa yet?
No,
so you love
Wawa,
it.
yeah. Like late night studio sessions. There's nothing else open. You have to go to Wawa, get the meatball sub. Yeah.
It is so
Sounds
fucking
good.
superior. I remember growing up and my excuse whenever I would want to go meet up with boys would be like, Mom, I just want to go get a Wawa sub. And she'd be like, you're not
Using
getting a
Wawa's.
I was going to make a joke about a 6-inch, but I won't. I'm just going to let you know that it was in my mind.
And you didn't bring it up?
No, I didn't want to make any. Nope.
Make any
She brought up
references
subs.
to it?
Want to meet boys? Tell hey, Mom, I'm off to get a 6-inch. I will not do that, Nathan. I'm not sure why you think that's funny that I wouldn't make that joke, but okay. All right.
Cover up, yeah.
Okay, so I feel, again, you're kind of this mysterious guy, Zayn. We don't really know too much about you. You're kind of under the radar. So can you take me through a typical day in the life of Zayn in Pennsylvania? What are we doing? Make us feel like we're a part of your life.
A typical day for me is, it kind of varies. It depends, what kind of mood I wake up in, but I take it pretty easy. Like I don't now, because obviously I've got my daughter. Like 50% of the time, it's a balance between the two things. But when I'm by myself, a typical day is
I actually didn't know that. If I did, I've forgotten that he has shared custody with his daughter. I thought for some reason he lived with the partner, like with the mother. Like I thought he lived.
Oh, I feel like we've heard that before.
I'm sure. I'm just keep in mind we have a lot of information that goes in our heads when we do a lot of videos. I can't always remember everything. Oh yeah, I agree, Ian. I wasn't too sure if he said because it was a strong accent. I believe he said daughter, but people do have shared custody of their pets too. That is a real thing too. So
Yeah.
I think he's referring to his to his daughter though. Yeah.
I'll probably wake up around like midday, have a shower, eat some food, and then like figure out if I'm going to go to the studio and do some writing, because I've been in like writing mode for a long time, just like working on my records and stuff. So just getting into the studio pretty much, and then
The album dropped.
The album.
Yes, because I think the album dropped in 24
Well, and his hair's a little longer
on the album too. Yeah.
on the album. Yeah.
So I would assume some of the songs then would have to do with the split up. I mean, I'd have to go back and listen again, but we already covered that, I'm sure. But now I didn't know the context. I kind of wish I knew this interview a little bit. It's not a big deal, but this is just trying to wrap my head around his timeline of So the album hasn't been released yet. Yeah.
You know, it's weird. He seems something different here. Like we have listened to Zayn post album. I feel like there was an interview
Very close to it. Yeah, the Wings one was one.
Yeah. And he had a different kind of a vibe to him there. Like it just seemed he's much more relaxed there. There's just part of just the body language and just the way he looks like kind of same old Zayn from One Direction. So I wonder
6 years, right? He might be a little bit nervous first interview.
Yeah, I wonder if he mellows out throughout the interview. Probably.
Oh, probably. But
yeah.
No, I think that with the Wings interview was more. And don't forget, I think with the Wings interview too, it was verified that he did know questions ahead of time too.
Oh, that's right.
He might not know the questions ahead of time here. There is some editing going on, but he might not know the questions ahead of time. So
I'll be there like all day until I got to sleep.
Then you're going to Wawa.
And then I go to Wawa,
Yeah, of course,
that's it,
of course.
and stop off for a sandwich.
Are you someone that likes to be alone?
I like my own space. I like to collect my thoughts in a more quiet environment. I feel like when there's a lot of people around, it kind of like just gets a bit hectic for me. Yeah, I like to chill by myself from time to time, but I don't mind hanging out with people now, like on occasion, you know what I'm saying? Like it has to be the right kind of environment and I have to like want to be there, you know?
No, I get that. I feel like that's also growing up. Like I was recently talking to some of my audience. I was meeting them in person and we're like, it's kind of weird when you just start to grow up, you just get more specific with who you want to spend your time with. I think that's a healthy thing. Obviously, you're on a even bigger stage because you were around millions of people in stadiums and tours and everything. But I also think that's kind of relatable. You know what? Sometimes I want to be alone and then I'll still hang with people, but you got to be good company.
Yeah,
it's as much as we tried to deny it, human interaction is a real thing. Like, obviously, there's people who say, I'd rather not talk to anyone until the day I die. That's fine. But it's interesting how much human connection is just part of our DNA as humans, as a human race. That's why when they have people in prison, it's isolation that kills most of them, like in their minds. It's the isolation. And that's why they get thrown in the brig or the hole, because they're totally no one to talk to. No, like we're by nature, we're creatures of communication and interaction. But I'm like Zayn, though. I don't like noise, meaning lots of people can be stressful, lots of noise in conversations. It's good to have your quiet time and your peaceful time. So sometimes when I go to work, my job is such where I kind of get that at work. I like the quiet. I'm by myself where I work at a station that I work at right now. Very little interaction with people throughout the day. I kind of like being in my own head a little bit. It's kind of nice. But then I look forward to seeing they'll get the recharge, right? And I look forward to seeing my wife and kids when I get home.
When I think about how Zayn has kind of responded here, he was One Direction. That was his jam. Went through all of that, left it, kind of dabbled with some music, but then kind of really stepped away from that because I think he just needed it. I think he was so full of people that it was like, I just need a break from people for a while. I totally get that. That's I did that from my teaching job. I can't go back into a classroom anymore.
Sure.
However,
kids are annoying.
However, I'm at a place now where I feel like, but I kind of want to interact with people. I like that feeling of being around people. I just don't like the feeling of there's nothing you can do about it. And these people are coming at you all the time and I need to fix this thing and change. That's like overwhelming. But the opportunity to interact, I love it. I'm open to more interaction with people now. But if you'd asked me 3 years ago, I would have said, no, I want nothing to do with people.
I hope one day you interact with me.
What? You're the only person I interact with on a regular
I know.
basis.
I actually have no friends. You're my only friend.
I always thought it would be, a pretty normal reaction to feel that way around so many people. I think anybody who was like overwhelmed in that manner would feel, a certain type of way about it. But I'm definitely learning to manage it a lot better as I'm getting older. Like it's more of a choice, rather than a hindrance. It's not like I can't do that. I'd rather prefer not to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I own it a bit more. Yeah.
You obviously love music, but can you share with us what are some of your other hobbies? What are you passionate about? What's other than music?
Like
Besides music, what other hobbies do you enjoy? Sorry. Let's see the hobbies. I think farming, isn't I got it right. Yeah, someone said farming. Yes, before I read it. Yeah, farming. I wonder if he'll say it.
main passion, I think, outside of music is art. I love to paint and I love to draw. I do a bit of cooking.
Okay, tell me one of your dishes. Come on, I can't cook for shit.
I can cook a lot of different things, but I like to cook meat, like specifically. I have a smoker outside and I like to smoke like lamb and I cook like I'll do grilled vegetables with it and stuff.
Oh, but, yeah. Is this like new or were you always good at cooking?
I wasn't always good at cooking, unfortunately for me. No, my mum kind of spoilt me as a kid. So when I was living by myself, like at 17, there was some botch jobs done for some meals. Yeah, it wasn't great. Some disgusting.
Yeah. Have you ever had lamb, Nate? Have you ever had lamb?
Yep, I have.
Yeah, it's good.
I've had a little lamb.
Did you eat it with Mary?
Followed her to school one day.
The teacher sent it away to be slow cooked in the ground. I was going to say, before people add us in the comments, which I'm sure they already have, I believe this is Portuguese, right? The language on the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Because it's Brazil.
I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah.
Yeah, I just want, before people add us in the comments, that's not Spanish, that's Portuguese.
Yeah. 1.21 gigawatts.
Stuff was going down for
like
sure.
Mac and cheese,
horrible.
noodles.
Yeah, just sandwiches, out of crisps.
That's kind of nice to be able to know, like, you can cook, you're over there painting, you can sing. Okay, no big deal. Don't keep bragging over there. Wow, making us all look bad. Do you have animals?
I do, yeah. I've got a lot of animals. I
just told you I cooked them all. Oh, wait, never mind.
3 cats, 3 dogs.
Oh, do they get along?
They're kind of like in different places. I have some dogs at one part of my house and the cats in the other. We have 3 turtles, 6 chickens.
Do you name them all?
No, I haven't. Not this time. I got too attached last time and it made...
Never name the ones you're going to eat.
Yeah.
I do have a work friend who lives in Alberta and he's retired from the military. He's has a farm with his family. They have goats, cows, things like that. And I asked him, I said, do you name your cows? He goes, I forget the name, but he goes, yeah, I have Betsy for supper yesterday or something like that. He told me straight up, they do name, he tells you that they do eat the named animals. He names them that eats them and names them in the fridge.
It made me really sad.
Did the chickens die?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I took my chicken to the vet to get a scan because something was wrong with her. Oh, wow. And the vet laughed at me and said, people don't bring chickens here.
Yeah. Is this a real story? Like, we eat chickens. Like, he actually took his pet chicken. It was like, it's a pet chicken. My chicken.
I thought he was saying, like, yeah, I don't name them because I eat them.
Yeah, I thought he was saying too.
I don't name them because they die.
They die when you deep fry them. You know what the doctor said when the chicken was in? He said, your goose is cooked.
I'm only laughing at you. That is the worst joke.
Or the doctor said, did it get hit by a car crossing the road? It's like, why? And then the doctor says, I don't know why.
And there goes some people. We did have 31 at one point.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
guessing he just eats the eggs. I'm guessing that's what it is.
Yes, yes. Back to, I apologize. I don't know why people watch our channel. I'm sorry. I ruin everything. Yeah. But back to bring it back to reality, you're right. It could just be egg bearing chickens. You're right. I agree. Okay.
And then they still charged me for an X-ray, and then I took my chicken all the way home and cried, and she died in my arms.
Wait, Zayn, I'm like not laughing because it's funny.
It is kind of funny, but not because the chicken died, but it's just funny seeing me take a chicken to the vet.
And when you say you're holding your chicken, like, are you holding your chicken like this?
Yeah, fully on my lap, yeah. She died on my lap.
So you weren't crazy for going to the vet?
No, yeah, she had something wrong with her. We tried to rescue them. They were going to be slaughtered, I think, and they had all kinds of things wrong with them, yeah. But I've got new chickens now, and they're all healthy and stuff, but I didn't name them for that reason.
Okay, and what are the names of the cats?
Salem, Dobby, and Vito.
Dobby, is that from Harry Potter?
It's from Harry Potter. He's a sphinx. He's a pink sphinx, yeah. So he looks a little bit like Dobby.
Oh, it's hairless cats. Would you ever? They're weird. They're kind of weird.
I'm barely a cat person, meaning I can tolerate cats, and it doesn't really get me worked up. My wife hates cats, but you
tolerated mine when you visited, right?
Yeah. No, they're wonderful. You know, they're good pets, but like the hairless ones are the ones that it's
like unique. They're very unique.
Well, not only they're unique, it's any pets that like could never on their own survive in the real world. Like they don't even have the adaptations to survive. Yeah. No.
I just don't like them because they look like a penis with legs. They're like meowing penises. Meow. I don't want to pet that kitty. I'd rather choke my chicken. You know what I'm saying? All right. How many did we lose this time? We should do like a number count.
I know. Oh, they're doing another one of those jokes, dirty jokes. I'll come back when they're just bopping their heads.
If we should bop our heads during the interview. All right.
Harry! That's so good. You're a Harry Potter fan.
I'm a big Harry Potter fan.
Zayn, I didn't know that about you. I wouldn't have pegged you as like a Harry Potter guy.
Yeah.
This is like...
We knew that because we watched Daniel Radcliffe come to X Factor, and they were all fans of him, so...
Yeah, we knew that. We knew that, Alexandra.
Okay, and what are the dogs' names?
Zion, Zeus, and Thumper.
Thumper?
With an F, yeah.
Thumper,
but with an F.
How did you come up with that?
Bambi, Thumper, the rabbit.
But you wanted...
Okay, I had a cat named Thumper.
Oh, really?
Long time ago. He was really fat.
Yeah, Thumper thought sounded better.
Yeah.
It's better in my accent, Thumper. You know?
It does sound pretty good. Something I love to do on Call Her Daddy is the reason we all are the way that we are is because of our childhood, where we came from, who we were raised by, our environment growing up. Obviously, you living in Pennsylvania right now is so different from where you grew up in the UK, in Bradford, like you described. Can you explain to people that may not be familiar with Bradford, what was your upbringing like and what was that environment like?
Where do you want me to start?
Just wherever it feels right. Go.
Yeah, Bradford's not obviously like Pennsylvania in terms of, like the wealth and the way that it's, looked after and taken care of. It's impoverished community, there's people...
I was just going to say, I was hoping you'd explain. So Bradford, I don't think Pennsylvania is impoverished, but I was just curious what he meant by, okay, so Bradford is a lesser income type area. Okay.
Or working class that have, a hard environment that they're growing up in, everyone's kind of got some issues going on at home or something's happening, even if it's on the street or whatever, wherever you go, there's a lot of confliction, So it was very different to here in that sense for sure, but I'm very grateful for where I grew up because it definitely, like you said, shaped and molded a lot of identity for me. Early on, I was questioned, and interrogated about my identity because of my environment. It's just the way it is. You have to have a good understanding of who you are, and I'm really grateful for that. It helped cement my own identity in myself, I think.
When you talk about people would question your identity, I know your family is not from the UK. Your family is Pakistani. And I'm curious, is that
my father is, my mum's English.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you saying, is that how that was influenced?
No, not necessarily just in every sense of the word. Like even like your fashion, the clothes you want to wear, the way you want to cut your hair, it was always something was questioned, you know, if you weren't doing the norm that was like that everybody was doing or everyone was following, you know, everyone would wear a certain type of pant or a certain type of shoe, and if you weren't dressed that way, you would get...
Okay. Oh, sorry, guys. There's a lot to take in. I totally relate with what Zane's saying here. I don't like being questioned as well about why are you doing that, what you're doing. What I mean by that is, for example, it even happens in my adult life at work. Somebody pointed out, like somebody I barely really even talked to, asked me, did you get a haircut? It's a weird example, but this is what I'm getting at. If I didn't get a haircut, why are you asking? If I did get a haircut, why are you asking? I know it's not a very good example, but that's the question, like questioning what I'm wearing, questioning did I have a haircut? And I did answer the question, and he kind of left it hanging. He was insinuating, this was like a week ago, that my hair didn't look that great for some reason. Like it was just matted or whatever. It was at the end of a 10-hour shift at this point. I don't know. I wore a hat earlier in the day. The point is, again, it's such an awkward conversation because I don't know what the end game is. Like it's a power play to a degree of the questioner, because I'm putting you in the position of answer my question, and depending on your answer will be dependent on my response. Whereas it should just be, hey, I noticed you colored your hair. It looks really nice. Maybe. I don't know. It might not be the best thing, but I'm just saying for him, he's saying the same thing. Like if he's wearing a shirt, he's wearing a shirt. Why question what he's wearing? He's wearing it because I put it on and I'm wearing it.
Well, yeah. Most people have no ability to really communicate well at all. And so
I agree. I agree.
So those kind of non-starter sentences like, oh, I got a haircut. Oh, look at the weather. Oh, those are like this safe.
I get the weather, sure. But this is a very pinpointed question. Talk about the weather is one thing. Like, hey, did you find it rained a lot today?
It's like people want to have a more in-depth conversation. They want to try and maybe he had more to say and positive or negative, but he didn't know how. Saying like something about your haircut is the next safe place to bring up something. When I had long hair, people had a hard time trying to tell me to get a haircut because it was always like, long hair, huh? I get that you're bringing that up. Oh, we're definitely losing people. Okay. Let's keep going.
Oh, we're talking too much. Ooh, shoot. Yeah. Bopping our heads. Back to bopping our heads. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Bopping our heads. Let's go.
Questioned about it, you know, like people would be very like in your face and be like, give you shit. So you had to have a bit about you so that you could, you know who you were and have a conversation back. Have a bit of wits about you as it is, you know, street smarts.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree with exactly what he's saying. So I came back with some sort of, I did not let it be known that the question was odd, or because coming from this person too, we had no relationship where this question should have been asked. There was no closeness relationship. It's a very pointed question where our relationship in the past had no reason to ask. Anyways, so my response was very, I told the truth, whatever it was, but I didn't ask why I just let it go. I didn't do follow-up. So that's what he said. You got to have a little bit of street smarts. You got to know how to navigate this, because you're right. You can't control the questions that are going to be asked you. So you have to kind of put on some street smarts. And I agree. It's hard to do when you're caught off guard, but I'm trying. I suck at life still. That's what I'm trying. Okay. Are you guys happy? Are you better? Are you everyone happy? No, yeah, Nathan, you and I are hitting a big age this year. We're hitting a big number this year. And the older I get, the more I realize I suck this life. You know what I mean? Like communication, like stoicism, figuring things. It's so hard, man. I thought I knew more when I was 20 something. And that ignorance is bliss. Because when you get older, you realize, I don't know anything. Yeah. I don't know.
Got to be able to hold your own.
Exactly, yeah.
And when you say people are coming at you, is it more like peer dynamics or is it more like authoritative figures? There's
a balance, a mix, of everything. It depends, you know. There's the peer pressure in schools and stuff, but then it's on the street. If you go out there and stuff, if you're just trying to have a good time, you know, like it's not as friendly fun, you know. It's a bit more.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I think. If you asked about my hair, I wouldn't think that because I have a relationship with you. There you go. That's exactly what he's saying. So yeah, it's the pure dynamics. It depends where the same question comes from two different people. It's like it's a dynamic. It's a power. If you say, Ryan, did you get a haircut? I wouldn't get. I mean, oh no, this is like 2 weeks old, and I actually wouldn't think I would answer you honestly quickly, because I know you. I know there's no game. There's no.
Mm-hmm.
You're legitimately just asking for whatever reason. I might ask, oh, why? Well, like that's an odd. You've never asked it before. Can I ask why? And I would trust your answer. But he's saying when you go on the street and you don't know people. Yeah.
If I spend time thinking about why you're asking it, then I feel like I'm getting sucked into something that I never wanted to be a part of.
What about my
But
haircut?
I
I just got a nice fade today, and the people who recognize that they don't have their stuff together, those are the people that are doing better, if that makes sense. I question those who I know. I already showed it. Why are you showing it again? We've already commented on this. Yes, Nathan. Yeah. The rugged man look. Side note: I can't grow a beard.
I've seen you with a beard. You just
No, I can't. No. We've had this. I can look. It's ugly. It's gross. I look like a meth addict. Okay, let's just
get past the meth stage. That's all.
Yeah. Oh well, thank you, Lena. Oh, there you go. Oh, phew! I've been validated. All right. Well, you guys are funny. Hey, if you want to be a patron, you got to join our Patreon. You can do this live interaction with us. People on YouTube might hate it, but guess what? I'm sorry.
Irate. There's a bit of aggression going on. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Talk to me about where you grew up. Are you in an apartment? Are you in a condo? Are you in a home?
I grew up in a terraced house in a rented property. We never owned our own house. So yeah, it was a small house. There was like 3 bedrooms, kitchen, living room, but the streets are all like every house is like stuck next to the one next to it, you know what I'm saying? There's no space. You have a garden that's like enough for maybe a dog to sit in. So yeah, it's a bit different for sure, yeah.
So you have 3 sisters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so you are the one boy and 3 sisters.
I have 3 sisters, yeah.
What was it like growing up with all mostly women around you? Like, how do you think that shaped you?
Feel like I learned a lot of things like early on. My sisters are very opinionated, they're very strong characters, and yeah, I love them. They're great. They were a lot of fun. Yeah, it was always entertaining in our house for sure.
I love
a little bit of diplomatic answer there. Very strong characters. There was a lot of fun in the house. Yeah.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Always fun. Things were always happening.
I have 1 daughter and 5 sons. Okay, so I can relate with Zayn to this degree of is the one daughter, bless her, I love her, but she provides all the emotions of the 5 sons.
Yes, she does.
So I feel you, Zayn. And I only have so we have a very testosterone heavy family, but boy, I'll tell you, my one daughter, she drives the show.
I really love when I meet a guy and you can just tell that he has sisters, because you can just tell the way they move around women. You guys learned what a fucking tampon is earlier.
I had to go to the store and buy them.
Wow. So you were like really supporting that time of the month.
Yeah.
Terrified.
Yeah.
But supportive.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. Were you reluctant to go to the store and buy
Definitely
these
not. It was just kind of weird, like when the shopkeeper would ask me like why I was buying them, and I'm like, obviously I'm not buying them for myself. Do you have to ask me that? Just let me buy this.
You wouldn't stick like a couple extra like snacks around it. You're just like tampons.
Oh, yeah. We didn't have money for extra snacks. It was just needs to a mean. Yeah.
Zane's like, I'll take the supers. These bitches
means
are on it.
Sorry, the other way around. But yeah, exactly. It was always an awkward conversation, but yeah, I didn't mind it.
I respect it. I really
do.
do.
That for your sisters.
Okay, to people obviously that weren't there in your childhood, how would you describe your personality as a kid?
My personality as a kid, I think I was a bit of a cheeky chappy. Yeah, used to mischievous, used to get into all kinds of just childish stuff, like climbing in places I shouldn't have been and falling out of trees and smashing windows and stupid things. Yeah.
Oh.
With a football. Accidentally, of course,
Right, for sure. Yeah. So you were getting in trouble a little bit.
Yeah, just like childish stuff though, nothing too serious.
Yeah, it's good, common, fun boy. I hate to say boy stuff, but that's what you and I, when we were younger, kind of get in trouble, climbing, exploring, a little mischievous, nothing criminal. We didn't want to hurt anybody, but yeah. Did you ever break a window? Did you ever? Have you ever? There's going. Have
Oh,
you ever
yeah.
broken a window?
Yep.
I still feel bad to
Have
this
you
day.
ever?
Yeah. Well, you and I were wrestling in your foyer. We broke the window.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got pictures to prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
climbing trees.
Exactly, yeah, exciting shit.
Okay, so you were kind of just doing your thing as a kid, but I also think the way that you're describing the environment that you grew up, was there a way that you could have gone down the wrong path easily because of that environment? It was easy to get wrapped up in the wrong crowd.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think there was always an opportunity to go and do something that, you know, would have got you in like serious trouble. I was really lucky in the sense that like my mother and father like were super protective of that environment. My dad was always aware of, you know, the things that were out there, and he always explained stuff to me from a young age and kind of kept me.
Yeah, I love it. I love that he said that. Good. I know I'm old fashioned. You're old fashioned too a little bit. And when I say this, because it's almost old fashioned to say this, it's not a slight on anyone that didn't have a dad growing up, but it's good for a boy to kind of have that father figure too. It's good to have the mother figure. But he talked about how his dad was the one that, hey son, man to man, XYZ. You know, because I have different conversations with my sons than I have with the daughter. It's just there's just a different dynamic that's just real. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I'm probably going to be canceled for saying that. But oh well.
No, you're not going to be canceled for saying that. If anything, I think it's real. Well, this is too much of a side. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole.
Okay,
Let's
don't.
just
Okay,
go.
all right. Yeah, I feel you. I hear you. I got you.
I
I
already
got you.
saw somebody drop off, so let's just go.
Yeah, that's right. But every time we talk, we lose a. we have to talk 25 more times. We'll have 0 watchers. Let's go for it. Okay.
Away from that, if I'm being honest, and that's where I developed into being a person that likes to be by myself and like in my room singing, recording, writing. I got into, you know, poetry and things like that because I was in my room a lot, and I didn't like to be in them kind of environments. It was just a bit too much, you know.
Yeah.
I was always a bit more of a reserved kind of guy, a bit, you know, artistic, wanted to do my own thing.
What, you reserved? Newsflash. Sorry. This is funny. Say this might be a surprise to your listeners. So I'm a reserved personality.
Interesting to say for him to say that. When you look at Zayn in those X Factor videos, there's a real attempt not to look that way sometimes. We've seen that. We've seen the other side of Zayn where he's really like trying to look like he's really outgoing and fun and like still laughing at Louis' jokes even though they're so cringy. Like there's a real attempt to try and be, you know, the fun guy. Yeah. But beneath that is this. I bet you there was times when he went away from the whole group, found that quiet place where nobody could see him and just went, oh. Because I know it. That's who I was. It's exactly who I was.
I didn't really want to be in that, so my parents did a good job of keeping me away from it, I think. Yeah.
Did you get along with kids in school? Were you like the cool kid? Were you bullied? What was the vibe?
Yeah, I think I got on with pretty much everyone, but I wasn't like I was the type of person who only ever had 2-3 close friends.
Okay.
I didn't have.
Yeah, very similar to me and you. That's why you and I are very good friends. We were never the most popular, but we were never hated or bullied. We were just right in the middle, keeping our nose clean. What?
You're so funny.
What did I do wrong? Was I a bully?
Yes.
To who? You?
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Not in like the way, but you weren't the worst part. It was, yeah, I can't imagine how I was made fun of. Do you know? Like,
I was never a bully.
you weren't
I'm
a bully.
tease.
No,
I'm a tease.
You were a tease.
What are you talking about?
Everyone else. My family was a really poor family, very poor family. We had 4 kids in our family. I was the oldest, and we couldn't afford like anything. So I would wear these shoes called Trax. It was TRAXX. Okay, and it was embarrassing to be caught with those shoes. It was so embarrassing. Everybody at school made fun of them. It was like everybody did. And Ryan had a job, to be fair. I would beg my mom to get me, because she would just buy these pairs of Tracks. And I'd take like a whiteout and I'd white out the Tracks so you couldn't see it. So that it was, and I'd wear like pants that covered my shoes so nobody could see the brand name. Anyway, I convinced my mom to finally buy a brand name pair of shoes, and they were Reeboks because that was a new brand name, or it was, yeah, whatever. So, and she splurged and spent $44, I remember, on a pair of Reeboks. And I was so excited that I had this new pair of shoes, this brand name pair of shoes. And I remember coming to a basketball event, and I'm like, putting on my shoes. Here's my cool shoes. And they come running up, and Ryan's first words were, "Those are your new shoes?"
Come on, there's no way. Come on.
Yes. 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 So I like never wore those shoes.
I'm glad Nathan did point out that I worked very hard. I had a paper route. I used to wash dishes. My parents didn't have money either. That's actually why I got a job. Just to be clear, folks, just to be clear. My parents, I knew they couldn't afford it. I'm not saying Nathan didn't do this. I'm just saying for me, I knew my parents could, that we too had 4 kids. I was the third of 4. I recognized my parents didn't have a lot of money. We're like lower middle class back when there was a middle class. Anyways, I said, if I want something, especially when I was a teenager, if I want a new shirt, if I want shoes, if I want video games, if I want to go to concerts or go to movies or rent movies, all that stuff, I had to earn it. So I did get my own stuff that way. But if I did tease Nathan, it always came from a place of comedy.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But it never truly designed to hurt him. Like, I hope I hurt Nathan, because I think if you believed that, you would never be my friend. But
oh, yeah. No, I got bullied, like hard bullied from other people.
Well, who did that? Who do I have to beat up now?
I got in grade 8, because you had all your friends from another school, and I had just moved into an elementary school, and we joined together at this middle school. And at the middle school, I knew nobody. Ryan was the only person I actually knew. And there's a couple of people that I was acquaintances with from my previous year, because I was grade 7 in that year for the first year in grade 8 in the middle school. And that was it. And so I got locked into a locker one time.
What?
And
really? Did I know this?
I was there for a full period. I got...
in the locker?
In the locker, yeah. I got towel whipped in multiple times in PE class. Always made fun of my shoes. Always made fun of my shoes.
I'll tell you what, you know what's interesting? This is actually for context too. So Nathan has 2 sisters and a brother, and he's the oldest. Part of my survival instincts is I had 2 older brothers that kicked the crap out of me. So I was ready to fight, take care of my own, used to the bumps and bruises, and have to navigate that kind of relationship. So there's something to be said for that. So I was like, I had a brother. He's just kind of an angry personality, like quick tempered personality. So I had to navigate punches and blows and stuff. So I was equipped to handle guys my size and bigger because I had a brother who was bigger. And yeah, okay, all right, yeah. So you were the punching bag in a sense because you didn't have an older sibling to kind of spar with. If that makes sense, yeah.
A big group, like I knew people knew of me. I don't think I was the cool kid, but I wasn't bullied either. Like if people knew me, they were friendly with me.
That
wasn't me.
I feel like a lot of kids, we always have that like memory. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's something with the parents or the siblings or extended family, like of a childhood memory that you remember your family kind of just being like stressed or going through something difficult, kind of like if you could remember kind of a childhood memory that you remember just being like stressed about something in your life.
Like looking back at like childhood stresses, like I feel like a lot of them were so like finicky that it was just probably just some teenage shit, you know what I mean? It wasn't anything important. So I don't really look back at things like that and in my personality the way I am. Like I've never really looked back and been like, oh yeah, this is one thing that like kind of was, you know, a stressful thing. I think life is interesting like that. I think, you know, it depends on what you're going through at that time and how you feel, and then you can reflect on it at a different point and feel completely differently about it.
It's so interesting. I have a lot of respect.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nathan. I'm sorry for bullying you. I have a different perspective now, and I'm sorry. I feel bad. You know what's funny, and I agree with Lena. Like this, when we do these, if you're new to our channel, this is what these reactions, especially to the interviews, they'll do for me, Nathan. It just elicits in a weird way because you're actually already getting Zayn's thoughts, so we don't have to repeat his thoughts. It's kind of a weird, like we already have his answers, so that you guys are hearing the answers. We don't have to say. And Zayn said that, so it's going to elicit conversations between me and Nathan. What he's saying or what he's being asked as well will elicit our own answers. So, but I know you're just joking, Elena. But we just want to make it clear that these things do elicit these conversations with me, Nathan. It's funny. I will say that, of course, if I could go back in time, there's a lot of the things I would handle differently. And I would be.
Oh yeah, me too.
I would definitely not be as much. Well, my snark, and I enjoy it, but I would have finessed it better because I would never want. Because if you ever truly felt bullied by me, that breaks my heart a little bit. I would never mean to do that. But if you felt it, that's real, and I feel bad about that, so I apologize.
Well, to be fair, it came from all sides, and it was like you say. I didn't really have the tools to deal with it. I think I just wanted everyone to be happy and like get along.
Well, you're my best friend.
So I would just go along with things and let people do whatever, and I would end up being the short end of the stick.
And Nathan was, just like you see on the channel, folks, Nathan was the sweetheart friend. He was a sweetheart guy, and it's true.
Even for you answering it like that, because I know that you've been open about, like, at one point your family being on food stamps, and I feel like a lot of people would sit here and that may have been the answer, right?
Yeah.
That would have been like, well, fuck, like I didn't know where my next meal was.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, maybe it was childish shit, like no big deal. And that's interesting if you...
Yeah, no, and obviously there was some serious things like that for sure too, but I don't look back at it in terms of a negative light, It all helped to like shape and mold who I am and make me grateful for the things that I have now,
Yeah. So we are here because you can sing. When did you first realize you were passionate about singing and you could sing?
I think I was about 11, 12. I'd sung a little bit before, like I'd done a bit in like school choir and stuff. Funny story, I actually fancied like these 3 girls that were in choir, and they were triplets, and that's why I just was like, I'm gonna be in choir just so I can hang around these girls.
Triplets. That's funny.
And then it developed from there. When I went into high school, I went to a performing arts college, specifically majored in sports and performing art. They were doing the school production that year for Grease, and I auditioned. And
have you seen that movie? Legit?
Yeah, Grease. Yeah.
We just watched it. It's funny. Not even a year ago with the kids, and I know it's a lot of some of the adult humor and stuff, like sex humor and stuff. Nothing gratuitous, but it's But it's funny. I thought my daughter would like it because it's a musical, but they actually kind of got bored. Not because it's a musical. It's not as good as I remember too. It's not that. The sound of music's better. It's weird. Like the sound of music's better. Stuff like it's just we like musicals, but it's an odd musical. It's not as good as I remembered. There's more boring parts in it than I recall. Yeah.
Nobody could sing at all in our whole school, and I went and did this singing audition. Everyone was like, "Whoa, you can sing!" And then my music teacher recommended that I get a couple of singing lessons and stuff. And then she said, I think you should go on X Factor. I think you've got a good chance. And it just kind of went from there.
I love that the story started with, there were these 3 triplets. And it just felt right to join choir.
I was like 8 as well, by the way. Just for the
so swaggy. You're like, I got to get in that class.
I need to just, spend this time. Yeah.
Right. So like your natural just like boy interest ended up, you realized something that you had a true talent. From the triplets to X Factor, you made it. So it's so funny too, because you say you wouldn't be where you are without your mom, because you didn't want to get out of bed the morning that you had the X Factor audition, and your mom made you.
The Harry was the same thing. The Harry's mom tricked him to being there too, or something like that. That's both moms. This.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Go. Why did you also not want to go initially?
I think it was just nerves. I built it up in my head, and I was like, "Yo, this is a massive thing." And I was like, "I don't think I'm going to go today." And my mum's, "You are going. You're going right now. You're going to go see what happens." So I definitely owe it to her for that, for sure.
Oh my God. And so did you practice? You were practicing for it?
Yeah, but I had no idea, no clue. They told us we had to have a backing track, like a karaoke version, and I was so inexperienced at that time that I didn't even know what that was. So I was just planning on singing a cappella, so I was just going to do it without anything. And it was so weird for me to adjust to singing on a backing track. I was like, this is such a weird experience.
Is he talking about he has something in his ear that he's singing along with? to help?
He was just planning on singing it a cappella, but then they said you need to have a backing track. So he'd never
Like a musical track?
like to sing along with. Right?
Oh, okay.
Without the singing.
Oh, so without I see, like a literal karaoke track. So
Yeah.
oh, okay. Because we don't. It depends on the. Oh, I guess the American Idol is different. I'm only kind of familiar with the American Idol because American Idol, the early editions, they just come out in front of Simon then as well, but
and
they just sing. Yeah, okay.
I think even Simon looked at me a little bit weird, like when I did the acapella, because everybody had backing tracks and stuff. But yeah.
So that probably made you stand out, though.
I don't know. It could have worked either way. Maybe it made me sound really bad too.
No, well, obviously not. Look where you're fucking sitting.
Yeah, true.
Wait, do you remember what you sang?
Yeah, I do. Mario, Let Me Love You. And the reason I said that is because I've seen that performance back a few times and cringed every time I watched it. So yeah, it's not my best vocal performance. So there's a lot of nerves involved there for sure.
It's interesting that I wouldn't suspect he would have done that. I don't know why I thought that for him to go back and look at something like that a few times. Maybe it's just also, it could be a reminder of where he came from, what it was like when he first started. But he says he cringes, and I get it. Even with our stupid channel, there's things I cringe at, like early reactions or things like, "Oh, I can't believe we said that." Or so that's why I hate watching myself. I only do it when I have to edit, but I hate watching myself. Yes, Nathan, what's going on with your dog?
Dog's having.
Oh, those nightmare chirps.
Nightmare chirps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and your camera's gone. Okay, all right.
There was something in there, Zayn.
There's some talent. Yeah, there's some potential.
Acapella, and he just nails it. When you look back at that moment, obviously, is it like surreal? If you even had to watch it back, does it even feel like a lifetime ago?
Yeah, it does. It feels like so much longer than it actually was because so much stuff's happened in that time. Yeah, it's very interesting, very surreal. And I feel all them nerves again, like when I watch it, like I feel like I could give myself a hug, and be like, it's okay, bro. Because I'm like holding onto the mic for dear life. Please, nobody hurt me.
We've never done it yet, Nathan, but we haven't gone back and looked at our first couple of reactions on our channel. I would like to hold ourselves and say, you guys suck, but it's going to be okay. You're going to suck still, but at least you'll have more people watching you suck. We were so bad at the beginning. It's hard to watch.
Goodness.
It's kind of hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. So obviously then, X Factor, Simon, everyone came to you guys and they had this idea to invent One Direction. And then I think I don't even know. Did you even meet anyone before they put you guys together?
Yeah, we knew each other just from around.
Okay.
Because we were like a similar age and stuff. So naturally you speak to people who were like a similar age to you around there and stuff. And we were at boot camp together, and I met Harry on my audition day because we both auditioned in Manchester. And we were literally sat next to each other in the audition.
Oh, so it was like fucking meant to be.
He was sat right next to me, we spoke, and I went in and did.
I think she throws in curses to make it seem still like that. It doesn't seem, I don't care about cursing, but you can tell when it's sort of high schoolish thrown in. Did you really have to say it like it was effing meant to be? You could just say it was meant to be. It seemed almost forced. I've got to keep this. This is we're a party podcast.
I would not, in the real world, I would not be friends with this girl. I'm sorry.
And no, we talked about this. I'm trying to focus on Zayn, obviously, but she's directing the questions and she's speaking. I wish there was like a AI voice replacement just to ask the questions, and then we could just see Zayn's response to said questions.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Because I'm not interested in what anything she has to say or offer at all. I just want to hear his responses. But anyways.
Producing audition round, and then he went in straight after me. And we spoke a little bit there, yeah.
So you weren't complete strangers. That's good to know. Because I didn't know if they just threw you all together and then you were like, hey,
it's edited very well, obviously. You don't see all behind the scenes and stuff. But you spend a lot of time with the contestants.
Okay, got it. Once you started, obviously, One Direction and you joined One Direction, how quickly did your actual life change? Was it overnight immediate, or was it a little bit gradual?
It was kind of strange. The visual evidence of life changing, like people being outside of the studio and stuff, was like when we were on the live shows, we started to get like a fan base and an audience, and you could see that people were paying interest in us. So yeah, from that point on, it was kind of a bit crazy.
What were you even able to comprehend it?
I think he was able to comprehend it because he just freaking explained it. He just told you. I believe comprehension level reached. Sorry, Nathan and I are a bit of a mood right now. We're not in any kind of mood for this kind of shenanigans. This is what he will say. So yeah, it's different. It's weird. It's a whole new thing. Obviously, we never experienced this before. It's a new experience. I actually would rather watch James Corden right now interviewing.
Yeah, I agree.
Not really. I don't think I comprehended it at all. I think it's just a rush, you know. It was like just fun, and then the repetitive fun over and over again eventually is going to take its toll, you know what I mean? So then you look at it a certain way when you're in that and it feels overbearing. Now I look back at it like it was a rush, you know. It was fun. It was something that was amazing. So of course I wasn't going to understand it. It's not something I expected in my life, but it was definitely fun for sure. Yeah.
It would be wild. It would be wild. Imagine if our channel actually got popular. It's a rush. It'd be fun to watch your videos get, you know, 1 million views or 5, even 50,000 views. You're kind of like, wow. But then, like anything, I can see why it might become overwhelming. Or the rush is great, but then you're like having to fend off questions and queries, and maybe people stalk you on your social medias, and so that's the price of fame. Yes, but at the same time, I would imagine, especially as a teenage boy or a person, the rush of people screaming your name. Of course, who doesn't like to be adored? Yeah. And then be adored by 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people. Yeah.
Speaking of not of being adored, but being recognized, did I tell you that I was recognized the other day?
From what? The channel? From a stranger, though?
Yes.
No. From a stranger?
Yes.
Okay. You're not lying to me for story's sake.
I'm not lying to you.
So someone you've never met before. Someone you've never met before.
Someone I've never met before just said, "Oh, do you do those Taylor Swift reactions?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've done some." Oh, like, well, here we are on YouTube. I was like, "What's happening?"
You really had that happen for real?
Yes.
Wow, that's a good story. I don't know why you never told me that one.
Because this last 2 weeks have been like a crazy rush. Everyone's, it's so funny how people think these guys, they don't seem to be putting out very much content. And it's because our lives are crazy, people. I have a short amount of time to spend right now doing this reaction. And then I'm off to being crazy again.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm not, actually, Nathan, I'm off to go skiing in the mountains. What are you talking about? So where was this?
It's at the bridal fair.
So someone was attending as well
last weekend.
So that's funny. So
I was shooting the models and stuff that are coming out on the runway, and then I went and chatted with a bunch of the vendors, and I'm filming them. And one of the brides is, "Have I seen you on YouTube before?" And I was like,
"The Nathan took her to the back and shagged her." Hey Nathan, it's the price of fame. You got to give the fans what they want.
It felt surreal. It felt very like, what's going on?
That's funny. That's how busy Nathan's life has been, because I never heard that story yet. So there you go. That's interesting. That's a great story. I like it.
Because it is so interesting. I think people forget, like, you were 17 at the time.
Yeah, 17, yeah.
Nope. Nobody's forgotten that.
Like, my brother lived in this house at 17 and was, like, picking his nose and going to Wawa and, like, trying to fucking get girls to pay attention to him. And you are, like, all of a sudden overnight become one of the biggest stars in the world. Can you help us, commoners over here, Zayn? Commoners. Can you help us understand, like, what skyrocketing to that level of fame can do to you as an individual when you're, like, by yourself at night, laying in bed, trying to understand, like, what is happening to you in your life?
Yeah, you can definitely get into, you know, deep places of thought if you really reflect.
What's it like discovering fame at such a young age, and how did it affect your mental health when you had those quiet moments?
My brother was picking his nose when he was your age. And I have the story that I want to tell and get it in there so that you think I'm cool too. And so I'll drop a couple F-bombs just to make it sound better.
And my brother's a dork when he was 17, but you were so cool.
To be honest with you, I don't think I was even intellectually capable to do that at that age, you know. I think,
and that's the danger with young stars, and I'm glad he mentioned that that's the concern about these young stars. We've seen all the time, childhood stars, movie stars. They're not equipped. It's not their fault, but they're not equipped to deal with that kind of. You need to have a real good parents team around to protect the child as best you can.
What's funny here is we know the other side of the story from the X Factor, right? Zayn actually was ready to quit. Like, and Simon talked him out of it. There's a whole story here that we already know. Yeah.
It's took time for me to process them things. I think I've had to process it.
Yes. I understand he doesn't do interviews. Maybe with other interviews, she's Larry King. Okay. So maybe in just this one interview, she's totally being informal just for Zayn. But I got a feeling, I could be wrong, that what we're seeing here is pretty much the cut of her jib. But that's fine. Hey, she's worth $60 million and she's got one of the large, she's part of Barstool Sports. She's a podcast. She's a huge commodity in the podcast world. I'm not begrudging her success. If Zayn's feeling comfortable because of it, cool. It's making me listening irritated. So if it's working for Zayn, cool.
Yeah.
Me as a viewer.
That's my take on this. I will never watch, unless it's an artist that I really care about. I don't want to watch her do another interview, but I can see, like, because Zayn wasn't doing interviews. So this might have been, like, and maybe he's a little sweet on her. That's the other thing I think, is maybe he kind of...
I think he's acting the same as he did with the Wings episode, meaning he's just he's just a cool, calm guy.
He's just a cool, calm guy. So maybe there were some conditions or something, and he thought, she's going to be safe. She's not going to ring me over the coals.
No, I understand. Look, I get it. I know Zayn fans have probably what's happened is they've ingratiated her because she got the interview, so she's now a saint to them. I guarantee you, had he given the same responses to an interviewer who wasn't acting the way she was, that'd be in the good books too. Yeah. It'd be in the good books too, of course. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
With an older mind and look at it backwards and be like, yo, this was why this happened and this is what happened, and we took off at this point, and this interview made this happen, and then this song made this happen, and just decipher it as facts rather than like in an emotional manner, because emotion just seems to just blur things, Right. So I try not to think about them things on that kind of level, like, oh, I'm super famous. Like, I just make music, I love singing, and people seem to have an interest in it.
Yeah,
so,
a little bit, just a little bit. No, I almost get what you're saying. Like, you kind of have to black it out and just be present, because if you stop to think about all of it, then it's all gonna come
exactly. Yeah, and that's how I deal with it. I don't black it out so much, but I just don't overthink. It works for me that way, I think.
Yeah, you just almost have to stay present, because it's like, what else
in the moment? Yeah, just enjoy it, and then like in 10 years time, you can look back and be like, this is what happened.
Right. Yeah. Like, now you can look at it in hindsight and be like,
if you have 10 years time, but have that luxury.
Yeah, but you've had time probably now to be like, whoa, in your quiet moment.
You talked about having that 10 years time. His friend or counterpart Liam didn't have that.
Oh yeah, this is pre-Liam.
Yeah, pre-Liam, of course. But the idea that he even says, if you have that luxury to look back 10 years later.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about how Zayn's really... Zayn is very... I know everyone says this. He's Zen. Like, he's got a lot of this sort of philosophical depth to him, right? So he understands a lot of the common things that celebrities go through. And to be fair, like, I think he was mature right out of the gate.
Yeah. I'm sorry for harping on her. Everyone's going to be mad at me.
No, it's okay. Here, let's deflate this by just saying this. I get it. She's just trying to be more common, more regular, and so that she's relatable. And that's what's working. Like, that's probably why people didn't notice any of this stuff, because it just feels, she's like the person next door interviewing Zayn.
But you and I have seen, that's the thing, maybe you and I are coming at it too. Like, I know for you, for example, you and I have seen hundreds of hours of like good interviews.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Zayn fans don't watch podcasts or interviews like ad nauseum like you and I do. So I see how it can be done.
Yeah.
And people that do it in such a professional, fun way, when you watch somebody do it, that's all. Yeah. So it's like anything, guys. Think of listening to music. You listen to a lot of different music. And then you hear a song you don't like, even though that person has a lot of fans. You're like, I don't get it. I don't understand how people could like this. That's all it is. It's just a flavor that I don't enjoy, and because I listen to a lot of interviews, and That's all I'm saying. So that's all it is. It's just think of it as a reaction to a song you don't like as a person. You're like, I don't get why people like this song, but it is popular. She's a popular podcast. She has a large audience.
Moments now in life where you can actually sit and dissect things that at 17, 18 years old, again, like you said, I was just having fun. I was just going with it. And also, it's not like you were just on this solo tour. Like, you were a part of something. So that also probably affected of be a good team player. Like, go with the flow. Like, do what you got to do. Obviously, your guys' fans are insane. They're obsessed. They're still obsessed. They're everywhere. They love you guys. Can you share any like memorable fan moments that you remember to this day that have stuck with you, of just like anything that happened that you're like, damn?
I've probably said this a lot of times, but honestly, it was one of the craziest and most bizarre moments ever. I remember coming out of the studio once in Sweden when we were recording What Makes You Beautiful, and this is before even we dropped our first single, and there was like a row of like maybe 5-6 bins, like trash cans, like outside of the studio. And I came out and every single one of the trash cans opens and there's 3 people inside of
Wait,
each
what?
trash
How did that not?
and they tried to grab me, and it was a very memorable moment. That was for sure. Yeah, I think I had a mini heart attack.
See, I would love to know then. I haven't read the YouTube comments. I would love for someone to take. Who's the person? Someone was there.
Take
like,
credibility and be like, that was me.
That was me.
Yeah.
I was one of those fanatics in a garbage can waiting to.
I hid in a trash can waiting for One Direction to come out.
Nathan, is there anyone that you would hide in a trash can for to surprise any celebrity? But it's just so crazy what I mean, this is not surprising. We know what fans will do for all sorts of artists. But that's what I mean. I don't know if I could ever just do that where I even hide on anybody where I'm like, if I meet them, I meet them. If I don't.
But certainly not as like, I'm so fanatical that I have to go and see. No, not at all.
Yeah. And they're again, young. I'm not going to say girls. I don't want to gender the fan, but young people. It's very young people doing this. So this is a very young person behavior for sure. Yeah. Not
humans popped out from garbage cans and tried to grab you.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking video game.
Yeah, it was.
And like swallow you into the fucking
into the trash.
What?
Yeah, it's funny, man.
Oh wow. Do you think that in any way?
That's dedication, though, right? Like to get into a trash can, like.
Zayn, they were willing to get in the trash bucket for you. Okay, motherfucker, they are loyal.
They are.
Do you think that those kind of moments, though, not that we don't love the fans, we're obsessed, but people being so obsessed with you, is there any lingering paranoia from people constantly staring at you and following you? No,
not really. I don't have paranoia in that sense. No.
That's good. You sleep well.
Yeah, I do. I sleep in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know. Look, it's raining.
I can hear the crickets. Yeah. It's amazing. There's no crazy people out there.
No one crazy in
I know what he's saying. I think I would be this. I like to think I'd be the same way. I mean, I'll never be popular, but I would like to think, okay, so there's people that like me. That's fine. I would be like Zayn too. I think he's not the only one that does this. There's a lot of different celebrities that have those middle of the U.S. type homesteads where it's just, sure, you find out where I live, but you have to really come out of your way to come down the long driveway. It's a gated driveway ranch in Nebraska. Yeah, sure.
If you're in Canada, it'd be a small town, Alberta.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful. I say all this that I do question or wonder, though. I mean, people know what state he's in. Do they know what city he's in? That's why I'm a little worried for him to a degree, because he is very popular. He does say what state he's in. Like, do people figure out where he lives? And that's where I'd be a little worried. You know, he has a family, he has a child. Like or does he actually have security? I wonder, does he have security?
Oh, I bet
that he pays for. Well, somebody did meet Zayn. Look at that. Sorry, Aaliyah. That's cool. He's probably you don't have to run away. I'm just right here talking to you.
You could have hid it in the trash bins.
If you just hid in a trash can, that would have been fine. But
that's debatable. You're performing in front of massive crowds, and I know you're kind of saying like you were in the moment, but were you able to just easily get in front of all these people? Was there no fear or anxiety that came with standing in front of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people when you're on?
So I'm going to be curious to see how he answers the anxiety question.
Yeah.
on stage?
I think there was, but I don't think we had time for it. There was no like, you have time to have anxiety or be nervous. You're just kind of going to go do it, you know, get on with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we just got.
He's talking about anxiety performance, though, more than he's talking about performing on stage with the group.
Right. I guess that's a different kind that.
Yeah, different kind of anxiety.
He's brought up before. So yeah, you're right.
But I bet you we'll get into something like that.
Thrown into the deep end, and we kind of just had to swim, you know. And I feel like we did a good job, like in terms of like, you know, the keeping it together and making the music that we were meant to make. I think I got out at the right time. I think if it had done it any longer, it might have affected me a bit more. But I think we did the right amount, you know.
I think it's interesting too, because when you look at bands or even just like any brand that has like multiple people attached to it, like everyone loves to put archetypes with people, like the Spice Girls, for example. Perfect example. You have to label everyone. And so for a boy band, it would be like the boy next door, like the bad boy, like the brooding one or the funny one. What persona do you think you played?
They used to make out that I was like the brooding serious one. Yeah, but that wasn't necessarily my personality type. I think it's just a marketing scheme. You know, you got the Teletubbies, you've got Spice Girls, you've got whatever. It's just a marketing scheme, you know. Oh, this is this one.
Now, what I've learned with the fans, this is just the small interaction we have with our fans, not our fans, but the people that watch our channel who talk to us about them. They knew that Zayn wasn't like that. I guess what I'm getting at, it's interesting that Zayn did say, yeah, people might have thought I was the brooding one, but I think the true fans knew about his humor and so it's maybe the casual fans thought that. You get what I'm saying? People that truly knew the band know that Zayn was actually quite funny and quite introspective and quite not brooding, even though he says he might have been the brooding character of the band, but he says I wasn't that way. Like, I'm not that way. And I think the fans know that. So I'm just kind of curious, maybe when fans discover, maybe at the beginning fans thought that about him, but even if you've watched the music videos, he's having just as much fun as the other boys are in the video.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I wonder if some of that
media driven. That's what.
If we're going to talk about the anxiety here, and I don't know if he'll get into it or not, but if there is anxiety, it's about kind of being excluded sometimes. Because I think he was just as funny as, you know, the others. There seems to be less maybe spotlight for him, and maybe that's where some of that came from. Is like, how come I'm not getting the same attention as others?
So I get it, but I don't think you can define an entire person to one personality trait. You know, we're a little bit more complex than that. Yeah, I don't know what my trait would have been if I'd have given myself one. It might have took a long time to come up with one if I was going to do that. So I can see why they just said, oh yeah, you can be the mysterious one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I love the Teletubby reference. You're like, the Teletubbies, the Spice Girls, One Direction. I'm like, the fucking Teletubbies.
But yeah, but I think right. Simon was behind the Teletubbies too.
Stop. Was he
and the Power Rangers, yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's so fucking crazy. It's all coming full circle.
He's got a marketing plan.
Fuck. No, but it's interesting. So I was going to ask, like, I agree. You kind of had this brooding, mysterious personality, and that's why I'm excited to sit down with you today because, again, those stereotypes that were put onto people, I'm curious if, first of all, who comes up with that? Marketing people, I guess.
I'm guessing so.
Yeah, it's not like the fans. It kind of just happens.
Well, yeah, and maybe some of the fans kind of like...
Yeah, we saw that like literally with X Factor. Remember how they would just like keep imposing, especially when they'd ask questions, but they kept on just asking Harry. Because you know, which I can't remember. Some of them were awful. Some of them were so bad. Yeah.
Naturally say this too, you know what I mean, from like pictures and things like that.
So did you agree? So you didn't agree with it, but do you think you leaned into it more, or do you were just
I think I just had one face to pull, you know, I was doing the Zoolander, that was it, you know what I mean? I was only a young kid, I didn't know what else to do.
I get it. If anything, maybe it made it easier because you're like, this is just my lane. Yeah. This is me.
Just stick with this, they won't ask me too many questions.
Do you think you're mysterious?
Not really. I just like to just like chill, you know, to be in the back a little bit. Yeah, I'm a bit more relaxed. I'm not like trying to be in your face, you know.
You're not trying to jump in front.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, now you're solo, so you got to jump in
That's
front,
it.
Zayn. Okay, we're going to get there.
Take the reign.
No, he doesn't. Yes, he does in the sense that it's his own brand now, but he can still be the guy that's relaxed. And in fact, that's what makes the new album so much better.
That's right.
Is Zayn. Like it really is his own brand. And occasionally he is kind of that relaxed guy, but sometimes he's right out in front and he does say what is on his mind. And he's very like forward with it. I really like that album for that reason.
I love how you kind of mentioned, you got out at the right time. And I think that you leaving the band obviously shook the fucking world and everyone was like, Zayn, no, keep it together. But
No fan. I was not shook at all when it happened. I probably had toast for breakfast and went to work.
Well, the One Direction world.
Oh, the One Direction fandom. She said the world. I'm sorry. I went about my day, but
I think what, again, we forget is you're a human being and you clearly had to take care of your mental health and do what was best for you. I know you've lightly talked about this, but just so we get a full circle moment, can you just take us back to that moment of like actually sitting with yourself and knowing it was time to leave?
Yeah, I think I'd known for a minute. There was a lot of, look, I don't want to go into too much detail, but there was a lot of
yeah. We'll never know. We'll never know. We'll never know the full story.
He's just saying that because he's probably gone over it so many times in his head.
I don't know if he has. I thought he hasn't. We don't really know his exact. These are the reasons I left. Item 1, item 2. Like I think there's still a lot of speculation. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I don't remember why we've speculated. We've been told by fans, but we've never heard him say why he left.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he does say for his mental health. Sure. Yes. But what about triggered that?
Yeah.
So it's one thing to say, yes, I'm having mental health issues. I've had them at work, but I'd have to tell you what triggered them. So I could say, yeah, I've had mental health problems at my job. Absolutely. But then it's a whole story of how I got there. What was it? Personalities, what XYZ, those type of things. So for him, maybe he'll say right now, I'm just saying, I don't know if he said it was Harry, it was Louis, it was too much scheduling. The music, I didn't like the music. I didn't like. I don't know if we've heard those exact words from him, because he even just said, "There, we're not going to get into it." Exactly.
politics going on, and people.
And knowing it was time to leave.
Yeah, I think I'd known for a minute. There was a lot of, look, I don't want to go into too much detail, but there was a lot of politics going on.
Yeah, politics.
Certain people were doing certain things. Certain people didn't want to sign contracts. So I knew something was happening.
Certain people were doing certain things.
Yeah, very diplomatic there. Yeah.
And fans, I know fans will have their theories, but okay, put it this way, anyone in our YouTube comments or our Patreon comments who fill in those gaps, I want linked proof. I don't want, I get the fan theory.
I don't want speculation.
I don't want,
oh, it was because of this or that. And no. There's got to be
give us a
real
YouTube
proof.
link with a timestamp saying it was Harry who didn't want to sign this or didn't want to. I want to see firsthand account from the source as to what happened, whether it was. I'm so tired of fan speculation. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. Provide a link, because that's very fascinating what he's saying there.
That's right. Yeah, Bex just brought this up in the
music side.
interview.
The music side, yeah.
He talks a little bit about that. Yeah.
I guess sorry. Oh, he has a book out. There you go. That might. Oh. So there you go. And I'm just trying to taper down the YouTube comments that always flood in. What I'm getting at is I find that little snippet there, I guess I should have focused on that. Very fascinating. What is he talking about there is what I mean to say. The signing of certain things. That I'm curious what that signature stuff is. Yeah. I find that part fascinating. But he doesn't say who, he doesn't say what. That's what I'm referring to. Who signing what?
So I just got ahead of the curve. If I'm being honest with you, I was like, I'm just going to get out of here. I think this is done. And I just seen it. And I completely selfishly wanted to be the first person to go and make my own record. If I'm being completely honest with you, I was like, I'm going to jump the gun here for the first time. I'm a passive dude, but when it comes to my music.
Okay, that's great. So when this goes on YouTube, if it's on YouTube, I would love to see those. So please, in the YouTube comments, I would love to see those links. That's great. We can do our own research after. This also just saves people time having to type everything out. So by all means, send those links, and Nathan and I will definitely read that stuff. Thank you. Yeah, for sure.
And my business, I'm serious about it, and I'm competitive. So I wanted to be the first to go and
I like
do my
that.
own
I
thing.
like. I kind of like that. It's so funny because she was talking about, no, you got to be out in front. Well, he was out in front. Ironically, even he's kind of being not contradicting himself, but ironically he is in front. I kind of wanted to be first. I want to be the first one out. I want to have my first solo album. I saw the writing on the wall. So you know what? I'm tapping out first. I like that. I like that he had the bravery to do that to some degree.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was around, not that he had any animosity towards Harry, but he just admitted he's a competitive person. And I bet that there's got to be some of that feeling like, yeah, Harry's getting a lot of the press time and everything else.
Sure.
I'd like to be that person. And the only way to do that is to be on my own. And I, like I say, I don't think he's angry with Harry.
No.
I don't think that's part of it at all. It's just the need to be yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Speaking of which, remember, Nathan, we were talking about this totally side note. Maybe I'm misreading it, but there was talk about the reunion. And
yes. Yeah.
And I said, well, it's kind of unfair that even with Liam's passing that they might reunite just for that, because I said they would never reunite, but Liam passed. That's like, of all the things to make them reunite, it might just be that because it was an unknown. But they're not I don't think they're reunited for anything.
Yeah, I saw that in our chat.
So I'm not gonna say I told you so, but I'm gonna say to you, to all who think I told you guys, even if Liam's passing doesn't do it, there's nothing. They're never doing it. They're never gonna. The four of them will never perform on stage again. I stand by it. And I thought I was gonna lose the bet with the Liam passing, some sort of charity but they even turned that down. So maybe a 30th anniversary. Who knows? But I don't know. You're gonna have to roll me over my grave if they do like a 40th anniversary. Hey Ryan, wake up!
That was the reason. And then there was obviously underlying issues like within our friendships too. We'd been together every day for 5 years and we got sick of each other, if we're being completely honest. So we were close, we'd done crazy things with each other, and that nobody else in the world will ever understand or have them experiences that we've shared with each other. And I look back on it now in a much fonder light than I would have, as I'd just left. There were great experiences, I had great times with them, but yeah, we just run our course.
I love that you're saying that too, because I think people can relate to that. If you're with the same people 24/7, no shit. And I think I can imagine as you guys were younger, everyone was so idealizing this band that you couldn't say that back in the day. We got fucking sick of each other. It was time to do our own things. And I think that's so okay. But because
we said that when we were doing our journey, there's no universe where these guys could stick together. It's an impossibility. It's because they're all very talented. It's an impossibility for the five of them. Can you imagine a universe where all five are on the same page? We are it. This it. We are just the five of us for 40-year career. Now, people would have loved that, but it doesn't work. There's a reason why a band, like a rock and roll band, Nathan, has a lead singer.
Because there's roles. There's roles.
That's what I was trying to say there's the lead singer, the drummer, the guitars, the bassist. Yeah. But that's why the Beatles couldn't stick together, because they had too much talent between George.
Other than
Ringo,
who really was just kind of the background.
And people are going to get so mad at us for saying that. But honestly,
I know.
But when it comes to songwriting, George, Paul, and John, there's just too much. They had too much to express.
Yeah, they're all such gifted songwriters. Yeah, it was trying to get each other's songs in all the time, and plus all the other politics and everything else that went with it. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And they had an incredible. Look at Paul McCartney, still touring, 80 something. That's crazy. Yeah, his clone is doing well, very well.
Because there was this obsession, obviously. I get it. There's the nostalgia.
For sure, it's an idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like when you watch Friends, you don't want Joey cussing off Chandler, you know what I mean? You want these people to be best friends. It's an idea.
Yeah, you want them to stay together forever, but I also think it's so healthy because imagine if you hadn't ended it, then you really would have fucking hated each other. And being able to go on your own way. Also, someone always has to be the first one to leave.
Exactly.
And maybe it's the best thing for it, but in the time, I can imagine there's hurt feelings. Were you afraid of what the world was going to think of you when you made that decision?
I don't think I was afraid. No. The first thing I wanted to do.
What was stronger, your fear of being in the band or of what people would think? Maybe? No.
I guess I would have asked, what did you think people were going to say? Not if you're afraid. Like, you are leaving the band. What were you prepared to hear from the public? You have to understand you're in this band. You objectively understand you're in the biggest boy band in the world. You're leaving said band. What were you prepared to hear? Because that was part of that's part of your journey. Stepping out is okay. Here it comes.
Yeah.
Were you prepared for the onslaught? Because I think it came. My understanding is it came.
Was call my mom. As cheesy as that sounds, I just wanted to call her and be like, "Is it okay if I come home? Is this good?" And she was like, "Yeah." So as soon as she said that, I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. Like I'm done. Like I'm over this. I didn't really care about what anybody else thought. That's the type of person I am. Like we were talking about earlier.
She doesn't care what anyone was saying. Okay, that answers that. Okay, but that's how you would have answered. But there you go. I don't care what anyone. He cares what mommy thinks, which is great. You know, Mom, can I come home? Of course. No, you get back on that tour bus with those.
Hey, there's been some celebrity mums that are like that.
I know. Of course.
Them opinions off. I'm not really the type of person who defines myself on other people's opinions of myself. If people know me and know me well, they know who I am, and I spend that time on them people and make sure that they're, looked after and they get that time with me rather than the people that I'm never necessarily even going to see or have a conversation with, especially if it's a negative.
Very healthy. It's always nice to get the positive comments, but when the bad ones come in, you're like, but here's the thing, I don't form my self-worth around that, if that makes sense, but it does poke through, if that makes sense. I don't go to bed going, maybe I'm not a good person. I don't let it form my personality or what I think of myself objectively. But the next step is to just whatever it, but that is the way to be. You can't. It's one of the, I forget who said this, but you've heard this quote, Nathan. I know you've heard this quote. I think it was like a movie star or producer or director or even a music person, someone big, they said, don't believe. Oh, what did he say? Yeah. Don't believe when they talk good about you, because then you have to believe when they talk bad about you.
Oh, I've never heard that. Oh.
I'm butchering the quote, but the idea is don't believe the good stuff they say about you, because you're going to have to believe the bad stuff they say about you. So just be you for you, and don't worry if you're approved. Don't worry that you're hated, because both will happen. So if you believe one side, you got to believe both. So ignore both. Actually, ignore both sides.
Negative remark, positive remarks are always nice. I don't really pay attention to either of them, if I'm being completely honest with you. Just
that's the way
don't
to
let it get in my head.
I think that's so smart.
Zayn. That's why he's Zayn. He's got to figure it out. He goes, I just don't read either. That's the way to go.
Because I think social media, even if you're not famous, like everyone is feeding themselves and their worth by what other people are saying about them. And it's you good with your family. And I don't mean family by blood. Like you may
just,
not be good with
people that you have around you. Your circle. And as long as they're good, then that's all that matters to me.
Wait, but did you not tell your mom you were doing it?
Did I not tell my mum I was leaving?
Yeah.
No, it was like kind of spur of the moment. I'd not told her beforehand, I'm thinking of leaving. I just called her on that day that I was leaving and said, I'm coming home. Is it okay? Have you still got a bed for me? And she was like,
Stop.
Yeah, man. So
she can't come back.
Yeah, my dad wasn't so cool about it. He was like, no, you got to stay with.
Oh, so there you go. His dad did say.
Oh, his dad was like, get back in there.
Well, because if you want to look at it, I kind of get both. The mother's the nurturer, like the classic nurturer. Son needs help. The dad's I kind of get it. Maybe the dad's old school. Like you've committed to a job. Because he's quitting his job. If you want to look at it just as a job, your son is quitting their job. What are you doing? You have a great job. Why? The dad's probably looking at it pragmatically. Just like, you're throwing away your job. Not your popularity, but this is your means of an income. This is your job. You're not done yet. So the dad's a little bit more, what are you doing, son? And the mom's, come on home, dearie. Can I get you slippers and hot chocolate?
Simon's going to stay right. Don't come home, stay there. But my mum was like, yeah, you can come home. Please, son, come home, you know.
Oh my God, that's actually really cute that the first person, like, Mom, do you have a bed for me?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, let's go. Because didn't you also buy your mom, one of the first things you did with your success is you bought her a home?
I did, yeah.
How cool was that to be able to buy your mom something after everything she's done?
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
Wild. Okay, so you leave the band, and take me to when you're laying in your mom's home, you're in bed. What were those next couple weeks like for you, like mentally and emotionally?
It was interesting. I was just trying to get stuff together. Like, I wanted to get like a plan of action, you know what I mean? So I was like on a bit of a mission. I wasn't there too long. I went home.
Just his body language through this part has changed. He was much more like hands kind of at the sides for the first part, and just occasionally. But look at his hands; they've come together, and he's kind of picking at his fingers a little bit. So this is making him nervous.
Oh, that's cool.
Home for a little bit, and then I went back to London and started working and stuff.
That must have been so stressful too, because I feel like, I guess we see it in various different forms, but if you make a jump, even if someone like quits their job, right? They're like, I need to prove to myself and other people that like, I now can do it. And so did you put pressure on yourself when obviously you came out being solo? Were you fucking nervous?
Yeah, for sure. It's a very different experience standing on stage by yourself too. Like, it's a whole different workload as well, singing 3.5 minutes of a song completely by yourself. Like, when you've got a song divvied between 5 people, you're singing a little bit of a verse, maybe some ad-libs, you know. I preferred the workload, I'm gonna be honest. But
you're like taking a nap in the back. Harry's like, dang, it's your part. You're like, oh,
yeah, but yeah, I just kind of had to make an adjustment. I started practicing a lot more, singing a lot more, and just like making sure I could sing for 3 minutes.
You had to be like, I need to get back to my Let Me Love You days.
That's it.
Where I'm like back on X Factor. It's just me. I'm curious, and I don't know, because I know you were saying, and I totally respect it, of like, you were kind of just in this phase of going, and you didn't have time to stop. But when you did go solo and you left, did you have to take any moment to be like, who the fuck am I, independent of now not being a part of something that I was identified as in media?
Or yeah. Do you want to translate it for me, Nathan, that question? Or
I honestly don't know what she just asked.
I think Zayn's trying to piece it together. His face. Okay, I think I know what you're asking. Here we go.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why I've took the time I have to like not even necessarily do interviews and do too much like press exposure, because I feel like we were so overexposed in the band that like it takes a bit of time for you naturally to progress as a human and give something else that is interesting that you have to say. You don't want to be sat there just saying the same shit on repeat, you know what I mean, day in, day out. Like, I think there should be a good healthy break in between, and that was my approach to it for sure. So
it's what we do. People hate us for it too.
I know. You wrecked this interview for us now.
We've done so much. What it is I'm actually not being, Nathan knows this about me. I'm hyper aware.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I don't know, it's a personality trait or flaw, one or the other. Mm-hmm. But I'm not hypercritical, because I'm hyper aware about positive stuff, like things that are good and fun. But I'm hyper aware. I just notice things. Yeah. I should have been like a crime scene investigator, because I just notice things, or things will pull me away. Like, I'm actually reading what he's drinking. Like, I've already read that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, yeah. Anyways.
Before I became a teacher, I was way more just kind of like whatever, anything goes. But then as an English teacher, I had to be more critical, just so that I could give feedback to kids on their essays and whatever. And then as a videographer, same thing. I have to be very critical of what I do. And so I'm hypercritical. I'm sorry.
No, the funny thing is, people think I'm not negative is the right word, but Nathan's the harder please in this relationship. Well, I don't think people know that necessarily. They always think it's me, but it's actually Nathan is way. So I don't want to say grumpy or negative. That's not true, but I don't know what other word. I'm trying to think of the word that isn't has a negative.
When push comes to shove, when people actually want me to give my opinion on something, I'll give it. and they might not like that. But I don't give it unless it's solicited. And this is solicited in my books. This is solicited because we were asked to respond to this. And this is my response. Yeah.
Yeah. But for the record, we love Zayn. He is doing great. He's doing great.
Which we've actually come full circle on. We were a little too critical out of the gate, and we didn't.
Because we talked about it. We talked about it. We didn't know him. He was
times.
Yeah. We misread the label that we kind of saw with the media and how he was, and
I feel in terms of, you know, figuring out what your identity is as an artist, the only way you're going to do that is by living. You know, you can't just be on the conveyor belt and expect to have any sort of experience that's new that you're going to give people.
I love that too, because I feel like people, especially creators, there's such a stress about taking a break. And it doesn't mean you're actually taking a break. You could be working
Still
your
working,
ass off.
you're just
but like popping out of the
not doing it in the spotlight.
Yeah. And were you able to just not have anxiety about it? Because you're like, I know I'm coming back, but I got to just be good on my own shit and not be fulfilling the tabloids and everyone else. Like, how am I on my own right now?
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting.
That was the whole thought behind it, for sure.
So you started doing your own solo music. And I remember when you came out, Pillow Talk, all the good stuff, you popped off. And it's like really dope to see you coming out with your own sound and creative. And
he's doing nervous drinking. Like, I don't think there's much when she talked about the anxiety again and going solo and the anxiety about that. And he took a drink, but there's nothing left in that thing. It's just kind of a thing, I think.
And it's you, and that's exciting to know, like, you are producing this, and it's not obviously, and no shade to One Direction, but like, you're one of five. Like, you can't really have a full say in shit. Now this is you. When you started on your solo career, was there anything that you really wanted to make sure that you could bring to life that maybe you weren't able to when you were in a band?
Here, let me translate. When you were in One Direction, what were you able to do as a solo artist that you couldn't do in One Direction to express yourself as an artist? What could you now do as a solo artist that you couldn't do in One Direction?
Creatively, I just wanted to talk about things, you know, that were a bit more real, like, and authentic to situations that I was going through in my life. Like, obviously, certain things.
Yeah, because the songs at One Direction, some of them, especially the early songs, like, I'm in love with a girl and I'm jumping around. I'm so happy she's following me to the playground, you know, or whatever it is. It's like
a lot written for them too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Now he's able to truly, because I don't know how much Zayn wrote. I know Louis and Niall did a lot of writing, and Harry did 2 later albums. I don't know how much Zayn actually did. So now he's saying, I get to really, I get to share my voice. I get to have my voice heard. Yeah,
we dabbled with some of those early albums, and we weren't big fans of Zayn's early stuff.
The sound, the composition sound.
Yeah, and I just have a prediction. I don't know if it's gonna be true. Maybe he'll say it. I think what he did is he got the opportunity to experiment and to find what he likes. And I don't know if he actually found it right off the bat, but I think that certainly his last album feels like he found it. Like he found something that really expresses who he is. And I wonder if he's going to mention that or not. Yeah.
The room under the stairs is definitely, I think, his most personal. Album.
Things that we would talk about in the band was always very, you know, clean cut, like just glazing over the top, not really any depth or any stories to what's going on. And that was always a big thing for me. Obviously, I understand again from a marketing scheme that like the audience and the fan base we were appealing to at that point was that kind of vibe, so it was never going to work for that kind of audience. But I just wanted to show people that had a bit more depth.
I get that, because even earlier you said like you like to write poetry, and I'm like, I can only imagine how much the writing process is therapeutic and you get to infuse parts of yourself and your identity, whereas that just wasn't in the past, which it shouldn't have been. Like it was a band, it was great, whatever, but now you can actually artistically exercise that part of yourself, which must be
I think
really
it's difficult
fun
for people to write songs even from one perspective, you know, there was 5 of us in the room when we used to write sometimes, and it was so hard to get us all to have the same viewpoint and want to talk about the same thing. So in that sense, from a creative point, it is.
That's why even like we're talking about like rock roll bands and stuff, very rarely are all 5 minutes. It's usually It's usually the singer does the lyrics, and then the guitarist or somebody will do the music. It's very common, but it's not the bass player and the drummer and the keyboardist. There's usually one or two people that kind of direct. So so he's saying exactly that. Like we have 4 or 5 guys, trying to write a song, trying to share a message. Okay, so I guess Zayn, you'll write this song. So yeah, I guess to the point where then you just have 5 solo albums on one album. If you think about it, like it's how do you combine everyone's voice? Yeah.
A lot more freeing for me. Like I can fully get to grips with every part of it, the melody, the story, the production, the emotion, the feeling that I'm trying to convey in each song. So in that sense, it's super liberating.
It's cool because I think we're getting to know you a little bit better now that you are doing solo music. But do you think that the world even like slightly knows Zayn yet?
I don't know. I try to like move in a certain way that hopefully I will still have some juice. I don't want to give everything all in one go. If they don't know everything yet, that's okay. But hopefully they're getting to know me a bit better in this interview.
See,
they're getting to see my thought patterns.
Yeah. Still a little mysterious, Zayn.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to be an open book.
We like it. Okay, how about this? Describe yourself in 3 words.
We do this sometimes because people like to hear our reactions. Nathan, describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh, jeez.
Kind of on the spot. You can think about it.
Describe yourself in 3 words first.
Sensitive, considerate, and I'm trying to think of the single word for this concept. Whatever the word for self-doubt is.
Oh, yeah.
It's officially not really a word. It's a hyphenated word, but
it's not. No, I know what you're saying. What is the one word for that, though? I don't know.
One word for self-doubt. Uncertainty.
Uncertain.
Yeah, I can be uncertain, which triggers my anxiety. But I don't like to say anxiety because that just define you. But it's a result of uncertainty. Yeah. Okay. There you go. You have yours yet? Or we keep one?
I'll say creative, definitely self-conscious with a hyphen.
Mm-hmm. Self-aware, yeah, I like that. Yeah,
and I don't know, like goofy is the wrong way to say it, but no, like I like to goof around, goofy, but goofy's the wrong word.
Now I think Zayn's going to say reflective, not introvert, but something.
You missed funny. Funny.
You know why I didn't say funny is because I don't like to self-aggrandize myself. So I find humor is actually a great quality, and I know I can do that, but I don't like to say I'm funny because then I feel like I'm bragging. So I try to focus on words that were less. Yeah.
Very few comedians ever say they're funny.
I recognize I make people laugh, but I don't even know if I'm funny. Okay.
Zayn's going to say creative is one of them.
Creative? Yeah. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Introspective. It's something to do with being within himself. There we go.
Yeah. Wisdom-y.
Describe myself in 3 words. I'm definitely not going to use mysterious as one of them. I would say I'm a chill.
Yeah. Yep. See? Calm. Yep.
Funny.
Oh, funny.
Oh, loving guy.
Oh, there you go.
We've only recently picked up on how funny Zayn actually is, and also how many people the people who really know him closely, they bring it up all the time. How funny he is.
He's the slow burn type funny where, and this is not a slight on Louis because we love Louis, but the humor that Louis did during the X Factor journey, that's grating humor. It's slapsticky. It's putting bags over your heads or trash cans. I'm an astronaut. Okay. It's class clown humor. It's fun to be fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but Zayn is more of, he's a sniper probably type funny. He waits for his moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nice. That's so nice. What's your favorite thing about yourself?
My large penis. I'm just. Oh wait. Oh, we're not talking about ourselves anymore. There's my funny.
You get one of these, man.
All right.
On a Zayn video.
I'm also a liar.
I don't know. I think I like the fact that I'm pretty witty. I'm pretty smart, and I enjoy that about myself. I think.
You're good company with yourself.
Yeah. I enjoy that I'm pretty smart.
Nathan, do you ever make yourself laugh? I'll make myself laugh.
I wish I could make myself laugh.
I'll talk to myself at work or in the hallways, and I will literally say stuff and I laugh out loud at what I've said.
Yeah, I can't do that. I've like serious problems when it comes
you
to
don't.
trying.
There's no problems. That's your talent is creativity. Well, think about it. Your artwork, your music. Like honestly, Nathan, no, seriously, like I don't have those things. It's not a problem. You just don't have you just don't have them.
Yeah,
It's not a big deal. You're human, Nathan. It's okay.
And I have little laughs to myself about that.
What's your least favorite thing about yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. I know these are all good. Least favorite thing. I have a lot. That's a long list. It's almost back to sensitive. What I mean by sensitive is that I do feel. I feel strongly. So that's what sensitive means. So I feel love strongly and I can feel hatred strongly. And then I react to those. So that's where, oh, you're so sensitive. Yes, I am. And I'm proud of it. I have no shame in it anymore. People used to say that as an insult, but no, I feel. So yeah, when somebody insults me, it hurts. I feel it. But when someone shows love and kindness, I feel it. And so I feel the thing that's being presented to me, and I'm aware of my surroundings because of it. So I can read a room. That sensitivity is that I can read a room. I can read an audience because I'm highly sensitive to the atmosphere. The flip side of my thing that I could describe that I'm really happy to have is the sensitivity. And so that's the flip side is I sometimes wish I didn't feel so heavily on things because it can hurt. Yeah. What about you? What's one of your things?
I don't like my nose. I got this giant nose inherited from my dad. And yeah,
I got a big nose too. Now
yeah, yours isn't that big. I look like a dwarf sometimes in the mirror. I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, great. Should grow that beard out and braid it.
Yeah, I can take things the wrong way sometimes. I'm definitely working on that.
Give me an example.
I feel you, Zane. I'm working on it too. Learning to not to get rid of it, but to manage it.
I just tend to if somebody says something to me, I'll take it the wrong way if I really care about their opinion, what they're saying to me.
Got it.
Yeah.
Then you'll get upset.
Yeah.
I think that's good though. That means you care, right?
Yeah. Like I said, with the people that are close to me.
Do you think you at times can be too caring in moments that you need to learn to
I'm learning to be a bit more tame with it. Yeah, for sure.
little boundaries?
Yeah. No, not boundaries. I'm just learning not to get in my head about certain things across the board.
Boy, Zane and I would have a lot to talk about. And he's describing some experiences for sure that I've shared.
I exercise that well in terms of dealing with the media and things like that, but I don't necessarily do that too well in my personal life. Sometimes I take things to heart. Yeah.
That's good though. Again, it does mean you care. But I get, then you're like, yeah, but then I'm over here dying inside. I gotta muster up the courage to
Then I go write a song.
Yeah. Put that into a song, okay?
I don't write a song.
Give us one that's really sad so we can cry.
I've got a few really sad ones, yeah.
See, this is what we need, Zane.
Okay.
We need some criers.
We've got some cry moments.
What do you think is the biggest misunderstanding about you?
Oh, that's a great question too. Nathan, we'll start with you.
What do people misunderstand about me?
Yes.
I think people think I'm this big giant oaf that just is clumsy and doesn't do things correctly, and then when they realize that no, I actually think deeply and I actually care deeply, and people get that wrong all the time.
Yeah, trust me, people. Nathan is not oaf. You big kitty bear. No, that's good. I know you've shared that with me. For me, I've found that people misidentify me as someone who might be conceited. I come across as conceited or stuck up when they first see me, or I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but people think I'm better than people. That's part of the self-deprecating that I deal with, or the self-doubt, uncertainty that I deal with. So the irony is I feel uncertain the majority of my life about it. So I deal with anxiety and uncertainty so much, but ironically, people see me as some sort of cocksure, maybe even indifferent, cocky person. Yeah.
What do you think it's going to be about Zayn? That's because
that's a great question too.
As soon as he said it, I was like, oh, I got lots of things I think it's going to be.
Oh, pick one.
I would say people get wrong about him the same thing we got wrong about him, which was that his aloofness, that it's interpreted as incompetence, or the mysteriousness about him. I think people get that as, because we made the mistake of thinking, he's filled with anxiety and he's not sure about himself. I think that's going to be one of them, but we'll see.
I agree with you. I like that one too. I would have picked that.
That I'm like super serious. That I like I'm like super stern and serious, all the time. When I'm not, I'm just chill. I know that a lot of people have high energy personalities, and it's just not the way I am. It's, you know what I'm saying? I'm just a bit more relaxed about things.
It's actually nice to be in person with you, because I could see in media it could come off, I get it, serious. You're literally just chilling.
Yeah.
You're relaxed.
I'm just relaxed.
You're cozy in your sweater. There's thunder. There's rain. We're just
Pennsylvania.
relaxed.
I didn't even have to drive too far. Came to your mum's house.
Just in addition to that, like I think we've really picked up on that from his album, just how relaxed he can be and how just in his zone he's become, or at least that's the side that we got to see through that album.
Yeah.
Let's talk about anxiety. I know that you have lightly talked about it in times, and I just want to talk to you about like how anxiety affects your life. What has it done in terms of playing a part in your personal life, in your career? Just talk to me about what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, so I think we touched on it a bit earlier when we were talking about like the nature of our job, like what we were doing in the band and the situation being on stage in front of thousands of people. I think it's a really normal place to experience anxiety. Like you're going to go and perform in front of a lot of different people that you don't know who they are, and it's not a natural thing to do in terms of everyday life. You don't just talk to thousands of people. It was something that I had to learn to adjust. Anxiety for me, I've learned, is a feeling that now has a word, and I feel like for generations human beings have felt it and not really even been able to put the finger on what it is, but we overcome it, and certain things in life can change your perspective on them things. And I think for me, since I've had my daughter and since she was born, the main thing in my mind is like trying to be a good example to her in terms of I can do things and I can achieve things and I can overcome things, and you can do this too. And to let things like a feeling stop you from doing that after having a child feels like a really small thing. I feel like I've had to step up as a man or just as a person and be this example to her that doesn't succumb to these feelings. That's why I'm even doing this interview. Like I used to get a lot of anxiety around having a conversation like this, just in this kind of environment, and I want her to be able to look at me and be like, yo, my dad's doing this. He's the man. He's cool. He is cool. He's a cool guy. Yeah.
Sorry. This is fascinating because I recently really decided to double down on this feeling of what I think anxiety actually is. I wholeheartedly believe that anxiety is necessary. Like it's not a thing to avoid, or it's not a thing to try and dodge. We need anxiety. It's everywhere. It's in everything that we do. And when you think about areas in your life where you get anxiety and areas where you don't, part of the reason why you don't have anxiety in some of those areas that other people do is because you've, at some point in your life, you approach that anxiety that was there, because we all had some version of anxiety at some point for those things. And we just learned how to move past it. I go to the gym all the time, and there's certain exercises that I've found I would get anxiety, meaning I would go, I can't do that, so I'll just minimize it. But then when you find that, oh, that's just a wall that I've created, it's just a thing, you use that same anxiety to go, but I can go past that and I can push past it. That's what Zayn's saying, is like this, his daughter looking up to him and him thinking, oh, there's all these things I had anxiety around before doing interviews, whatever. But now he's going, but I need to be able to overcome that. And him taking it on doesn't mean the anxiety's gone, but that you use that anxiety for something to grow from and become better at.
That's good. I like that. I found his confidence, just talking about anxiety, and of course, anxiety is a big word. It covers a lot of different, it's a big umbrella of a word.
Sure.
Like depression is a big word. Sadness. I'm sad. Like it can cover so much. Like, why are you sad? What's causing the sadness? How deep is the sadness? Anxiety is the same way. There's so much to cover. And sometimes I wish there was more words. The Inuit, I know people in the States still call them Eskimos, but here in Canada, we call them Inuit, the northern indigenous people who live in Canada. They actually have, I don't know what the number is, but they have a variety of names for snow. Like when you and I see snow, we can say it's light snow, heavy snow, sprinkling snow, but they actually have all these different words because they deal with snow so much. They actually have different words for, instead of just saying it's snowing, they have if it's crystalline, if it's this. I say all that because anxiety should actually have that too. Like, what kind of form of anxiety is this? Is it stage fright? Is it worrying about a test? A lot of things can trigger anxiety, but anxiety also isn't just everything. But what I like what he was saying here is, and this is what I meant about managing my anxiety or my sensitivities that can trigger anxiety. My sensitivity will trigger anxiety. So I don't like to say I have anxiety. I have things that will trigger that response to things because I overfeel things. So then I'm anxious because I'm thinking too much about something because I'm sensitive to that thing. When he started talking about his daughter, is like, he's okay, how do I manage it? I focus my energy on something else. So I still carry anxiety. It doesn't go away, but the focus isn't me anymore. This would actually solve a lot of people's problems. And we know that it does, is when you focus your attention on something else, like going to the gym. It's you, but you're focusing your energy to something greater than you just, I'm thinking about me all day. It's about me and how is me. But no, my daughter needs me, or my child needs me to be good, to be there, to be available, to be sound mind. So I have to smarten up, put my big boy pants on. Oh, we're not allowed to say that, but you know what that means. But time to be an adult, time to grow up, put on my big person pants. That's how I think he's seeing it. Okay, I have anxiety. These are the things I deal with. But for my daughter, we'll get through this. And I will be the person I need to be for her. Even though I suffer from this thing at times, my daughter needs to see daddy being daddy for her. You're not in your own head. Yeah, that's why they say go for a walk, enjoy nature, because you just get out of your head, get out of your funk, go focus on something else.
That's helped me a lot, for sure.
That is so fucking cool to, obviously my mom's a psychologist.
That was quite the sentence there. That's so effing cool. Obviously my mother's a psychologist. Interesting segue. I apologize.
So I grew up and I think mental health was not a conversation for most families, and hopefully it will be. But like, I've watched my mom talk to so many people and talk them through how to get over a panic attack, how to get over anxiety, how to not get over it, but manage it, live with it, be okay to go about your everyday life. I think sometimes if you don't have anxiety, people look at people with anxiety like, just get the fuck over it. And I think it shows up in everyone's lives in such different.
I do hate that. Nathan knows this about me. The one thing I hate. What's the one thing I hate someone telling me to do?
Just get over it, or
no, or 2 words.
Oh, shoot! I forgot. I know it when I say it because then I go, "Oh, sorry."
Calm down.
Oh yeah.
I say, "Oh, is that all? Oh, cool. Thanks. Cool. Good."
Any
advice.
sort of direct commands are almost pointless unless you're in the military and you're barking at somebody in a course or whatever.
Ways, and
I don't think that's the way you can look at it. I think everybody's situation is individual. Yes. I think it takes an individual experience then to happen for somebody to overcome that too.
Totally. If you think about the first time you can recall in your life experiencing anxiety, did you experience anxiety prior to fame?
For sure.
Take me to a moment in your life where you remember being like, wow, I didn't know that was anxiety, but now I do.
But I enjoyed it. That was the thing. Yeah, like I enjoyed being in that feeling. And they got to a certain point, I think, where it just became too much. Like it just was weighing on me, that feeling of like anticipation and then getting the adrenaline and then the after feeling of that.
Yep. I totally
as a young
get this.
kid, I loved it. Like I loved being on stage and I loved performing. It was like a free space for me to go and be a character because I was playing a role in some little school performance. It was nothing serious. When it became a thing that had a lot of weight behind it in terms of people watching and stuff, then you're gonna have natural feelings of anxiety.
People staring at you, judging you, writing about you, following you, taking pictures of you. That's a lot. Can you share with?
This is a lot of people's experience in life. As a teacher, when I started out teaching, there's tons of anxiety that comes as a first, second, fifth year teacher. Get in front of a class every day. That little bit of anxiety was always there, but it was always like a way, it felt like a problem to solve every day. This I can get up in front of a class, and eventually you just get used to it. Just like you said, you like that little bit of challenge that, oh, I'm going to have to do this again. But what eventually starts happening over time, you just keep running into the same issues because of the way your personality is and the way my personality is. I would run into these issues where kids would try to talk over me or try and do power struggle things with me. And there's ways to negotiate those and go through them. But I got tired of always just doing that same thing over and over again. And then the anxiety that was there all the time that was motivating me to get in front of a class, eventually that started to like be too much for me. And I had an actual panic attack in class twice right before I quit. And it's partly because the way that anxiety, which is always there, that it, just like he said, though, it was at first it was thrilling to have it there. And yeah, I looked forward to it. But eventually it was like, I can't deal with it anymore.
Wow. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I don't really think to add to that. I haven't experienced that. Yeah.
With us in the heyday of paparazzi and insanity, what would be something that would really trigger your anxiety in those days?
Just the idea of not being able to just do normal things, to just go outside and walk out onto the street, because where we lived it was a bit crazy, and there's just people always there waiting to take a photo and stuff. And obviously
that too.
Thinking about having a child and raising her in that environment, it was just very claustrophobic for me. I didn't want her to have to be like exposed to that because she didn't choose it. It was a choice that I made. So I was like, we need to get out of here so that she can have some chance of a normal childhood where there's not cameras flashing in her face constantly.
So another thing, back to his daughter again, saying it's not about me, the camera's on me. My daughter didn't choose this, so how do I get out of this? It's almost like it's, I would say forced his hand, but in a way it did. Okay, I gotta go to Pennsylvania. I can't live where the paparazzi live for the sake of my daughter. Like, she didn't choose me to be a celebrity dad, so how do we mitigate this? Well, let's make it a little bit harder. At some point, TMZ is not going to keep flying people out to Pennsylvania all the time to get a shot of him, you know.
Yeah, it's fascinating that this is also what Liam brought up in that interview we listened to him talk about. It was the same problem, was that what was the worst thing that he had to deal with? And he said it was the not being able to go out. And Zayn's expanding this to like his more current situation, meaning wherever he goes, he's going to be recognized. But that idea in the first years of One Direction, they all, I bet, had that like struggle of what do you do? You can't leave. You can't be a normal teenager.
Let's talk about you being a father, because
let's continue the conversation of you being a father. He's brought it like 5 times. Sorry. Speaking of being a father,
it's really cool to see you talk about anxiety, which again, I have so much respect for even you being able to talk about it, because I know you're not that public about your life, and that's something that you live with every day. And to say like having a child has helped you overcome something that is like in your day to day, that's like pretty debilitating in moments. Yeah, but you being famous and having a child, deciding to move here, I can imagine you're trying to shield her from this life that you also are still trying to figure out.
What's CEO in the courtroom? Ask and answered, Your Honor. You know what I'm talking about? Ask and answered, Your Honor. Move, sustain, move on.
Is it a lot?
She's just milking this right now.
He just basically answered all of that.
Yeah. Can we get a crying moment from you, Zayn? That'd be really good for our podcast views. If we get you to cry. What's it like being a father and having this debilitating thing where it's only your daughter that can save you? Tell us more. Like, she's like, what? He already told you. He's in Pennsylvania. He's moved away from all this stuff. He's there for his daughter, but now she's squeezing. Sorry,
Can you
water
imagine
from a rock.
your daughter on a cliff and you're the only one that can save her? What would that make you feel?
If she had a debilitating disease where she forgot who you were every day, I think that there's something, a term for that. I can't. Anyway,
I feel like there's a healthy way to do it. I'm not necessarily trying to shield her from it, because she's going to know. If she's going to get to a certain point, she's going to have a certain level of awareness. She's going to know what's going on. I'm just trying to give her an option. So it's like a choice for her. If she wants to be away from it, she can be out here, because I am a famous person and I get sanctuary here, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like she is going to have a lot of options, and whatever she wants to do in her life, obviously I'll support her for sure. Yeah.
So good. Okay, how has becoming a dad shifted your priorities in life?
Asked and answered, Your Honor. He's focused on his daughter. He's moved to Pennsylvania. He has seclusion here. He's thinking about her, concerned. Like everything's focused on her now. The whole being the father is to change. That's the focus. That's it. He's already explained it. But Zayn's a gentleman, and let's just see how he helps her out here with. He's just going to reword what he's already said. I think. Well, maybe he'll share something new, but that's questions. Like we get it. Like we already know what we.
The crazy thing is, obviously, I have her 50% of the time. That time I have with her is so important because I feel like she's growing up so fast. Like, so when I'm with her, I don't work like at all. I just spend a full day with her.
Yeah, the question asked, I'm a dad now, but I could care less about my daughter. Next question. Like he's already it's an obvious question. Of course his focus is the daughter. In an interview, though, it's good to have questions maybe at the standby if the conversation isn't flowing, but just talk. Yeah. Just have a conversation and talk.
Good on Zayn for not just going, I think I've already said that.
Oh, I know.
For him to find new information, because she is, like, part of what's going on here, she's digging. She's really trying to, like you say, dig to get him to
the soundbite. It's the soundbite.
Yeah.
The soundbite.
And he is giving her some information here about I share the time with her 50%.
But he's already said that. But he's already said, I already knew that.
Wow.
He's already shared that. I was thinking it was part 1 or something. I know we've done this in 3 parts, but that's what I mean is he's already now repeating things he said already. Like because I learned that through this interview that he has her 50% of the time. I believe that's where we learned it.
Yeah.
Her doing things that she wants to do, like painting, Play-Doh, this, that, go to the park, go to the theme park, go to the zoo.
And I love you, Zayn. This is not a slight on you, but yeah, that's what any non-celebrity, that's what parents do. That's just what parents do. We just take care of our kids. Our focus should be that we take them to the park. We do things with them. We engage with them. Yeah, but good for him. He's doing that. But you did that too, Nathan. I did it too without millions of dollars and without. We just do that. That's what parents do. A good parent's just there. You're just doing things with your kid. You're cleaning up after a mess. You're wiping their nose. Yeah, but yeah.
We just have fun, and I feel like I've rekindled my own childhood, like through her. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we get to a certain point in adult life where everything's vague and grey and boring, and she's brought that colour back for me for sure.
That's a good explanation. No, if anyone doesn't want to have kids, that's totally. I don't like when people say I respect. It's not that I don't or do respect it, but I understand it. If it's not for you, don't do it. If you don't want kids, don't have them. Don't have them. But what I can say, speaking as someone who was, I love when people say, oh, you talk about your kids. They're so great. It's so amazing being a parent. I only know what I was before a parent and after. Like people who say that who don't have kids, they can't speak to it because they've never had one. You get what I'm saying? Like you can't speak to, this is a terrible metaphor. I've never had heroin. I've never had it. So I can't speak to what it's like to have it. I can say, I'm not interested. I can say, it's not for me. That's cool. But I can't speak to how I would feel. And so when people say, oh, I feel like you guys, you talk about because I have a friend that's this way. That's why. So it's a little bit close to me. But the point is, what I'm trying to say is he's right. Your focus, this is back to the focus talk, is like everything does liven up again. Christmas is a good example. Christmas is really fun. You got you see the joy of the kids. Going to the movies is fun again. Watching the joy of the kids, watching the movies, even just going to the park and being outside forces your hand to enjoy life again because you're watching your kid. It's like a reaction channel. You're actually watching your child react to the world that you once reacted to. And so you're reliving that reaction. You're like, oh yeah, this is neat. The first time they have a ice cream, like there's their first bite of ice cream. We all did it as parents at the first day. Anyways, I'm all over the place, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Your kids were weird, if that's how
they were very weird. I was their dad, but there's my thumbnail.
Yeah, you should do you going.
If that's our thumbnail, people are like, what video do they watch?
Like, exactly.
What is a dad quality that
you see that body language there?
Oh, I missed it. Sorry.
He just looked a little okay. Look. I think he was looking at his pop can that he's been using as a crutch. I think he's nearing the end of his time here. I think I'm good now. I think he's now showing. I think we're good. I think I've exhausted things. We still have 10 minutes left, but he looks to his can, but he realizes, oh yeah, it's empty. He can't grab it anymore. Watch.
Okay.
Vague and grey and boring, and she's brought that colour back for me for sure. Yeah.
What is
Oh
it,
yeah,
Dad?
3 times. He looked over 3 times.
Now, I'm not a
wow.
body language expert per se, but he did a weird laugh at the end there. He's like the courtesy laugh. I think he's okay. I don't want to tell you to wrap this up, but
If you ask me one more question about what's it like being a dad,
because we said last time that he already drank from that can. It was already empty the last time he grabbed it. It was empty. And now he knows it's really empty. He can't grab it again. What do I do now?
Quality that you've proudly taken on that makes you laugh a little when you think about it of, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this.
I keep being told I'm telling dad jokes and I'm leaning into it. I'm just like, it's okay, it's cool. Like I'm using like...
Oh yeah, here's a rule for all you young kids out there. And same for our channel. When someone says on our channel, I don't like when you do XYZ, Nathan and I will lean into it more. Don't tell us. So when a kid says, Dad, that's irritating, that's just fuel. That,
oh yeah.
Thank you for telling me. Or my dad jokes cringe. My kids always think I'm cringe. Like I'll dance in front of my kids. Especially my 10-year-old daughter, she can't stand it because I'm dancing. And but they love it too. But they're like cringe.
Christmas cracker jokes and stuff, and it's really funny. Like people just look at me like I'm a weirdo, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a dad and I'm allowed to tell these jokes. You have to give me a pass.
Wow, Zayn, I didn't expect that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I love a dad joke.
You're like full dad vibes.
That's it. Yeah. I'm going
oh, you got it. You got the can.
I love it.
Is it
I'm
empty?
fully leaning in. There is
maybe
no
there's some in there
stopping
though.
me. Okay, you haven't cracked one here, so if you want to, you can always give us your best. But you know, when it
We'll save that for another time.
I don't know if anything came out of there. It looks really empty.
Maybe in the cuts they're replacing it.
They could be. You're right, Nathan. You're right. You're right. They could be refilling it. You're right.
Okay. What is your favorite thing to do with your daughter?
My favorite thing to do with her is she shows a lot of signs of musical intelligence already. So I just love like playing instruments with her and singing with her. Like I'll sing and she sings along and she can do good harmonies and stuff already. And she's only 2.5, like, and she harmonizes with me, like finishes notes and she can hold them for a long time. I'm like, I think you might have a bit of ability, you.
I'm picturing the two of you playing with Play-Doh and you start singing and then your daughter starts singing.
She
and
can hit these high notes, like falsetto. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, yo.
Like, whoa.
Or I picture you painting with your daughter and then you start singing and she's, I picture you putting on her rain boots in the morning for a while and she starts singing and then I've had enough. I can't take no more.
I could do this. I didn't speak till I was 3.
How the fuck do you sing?
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's mad.
Wow.
And she remembers like full lyrics to songs as well, like every word. It's mad.
Wow. We got a superstar in our hands. Okay. It's interesting to hear you say like you're singing to her, which like would have loved if my dad could have sang. He can't. What are you singing to her and what are her favorite songs that you sing?
My dad can't sing, but he provided this gorgeous home for my upbringing. Other than that, lame dad. Probably worked his ass off. But he had a horrible singing voice, a piece of shite. And dad's watching the interview. He's like, oh, I guess I'll just go to work and keep paying this $5 million house mortgage.
I'm going to guess, I'm just going to cut off all the comments that are about to get overwhelmed. I'm guessing there's more, obviously, maybe she's got a bunch of money because she's got this podcast and it's...
No, she said this was her house. This is the house she grew up in.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
It's a nice home. You can just tell by this is like the waiting area. This home is a couple pennies, I think.
Loves Disney movies, so we sing a lot of Disney songs together.
No, but we already know she's worth $60 million. She has more money than her dad now. She's worth $60 million. She's a very successful podcaster. This is one of the biggest podcasts out there is this podcast. Our channel and our podcast sucks. Nobody watches us, Nathan. She's a star. We're nobody. We know that.
Got a friend in me and stuff. Yeah, she sings really cute.
Honestly, that's really cute thinking about you guys singing that. What qualities of yourself, aside from having that musical aspect, more like personality, like what qualities do you see?
Oh, it's sounding empty. I heard it there. It's getting really empty. I heard this.
I love that we're like keeping tabs on the can. We're not even listening to what she's saying.
I heard there's probably a tablespoon left in there. You can tell by the sound there.
Yourself and your daughter.
I think she's funny. Like, she's a bit of a cheeky one. Yeah, she likes to have a bit of a joke and stuff and laugh a lot. She's chilled though, but she loves reading as well, which is something I think she definitely took from.
Okay, Zane, relax. Next, he's going to say, and she does my taxes. I love how every parent, their kid is and they all just turn into people like me and you. I'm sure my mom said I was the greatest little boy ever, but then every puppy turns into a dog. Okay.
Like, she just has a affinity for words. Like, she remembers everything.
Has becoming a parent changed your relationship with your parents?
Definitely. Yeah. In a
Yeah, they became grandparents. Oh, I can't handle this anymore.
Just press play.
I know. I'm just sorry.
In a respect where you just have so much respect for the things that they've put aside for you. Like, when you realize all the sacrifices that you make as a parent, like, just.
I have a great relationship with my parents, but every teenager, every young kid thinks, "Oh, my parents don't understand." They don't get. And when I became a parent, I'm sure you're the same way. I was like, "Oh, my parents, considering who they were and what they had, and I had 3 brothers, so they had 4 sons. I'm surprised they didn't kill us sometimes."
Oh yeah.
So
they tried a few times, but
again, if you don't have kids and you have a bad relationship with your parents for whatever reason, that's part of the problem. I hate to say it. I'm just saying you will see your life differently and your relationship with your parents differently, is what Zane's saying here, is when this is what it takes to change diapers, bottle feedings, preparing meals, getting them out the door for school. All those little things you think that your mom and dad didn't do, they probably did. The average parent does these things. You recognize, and you do honor your father and your mother a little bit more when you recognize, they had to do this too, and maybe I shouldn't be such a jerk when they don't understand me. They know more and understand more than you give them credit for. Yes.
Just to be there and be present with your child, you can't have nothing but respect for that, for sure.
I know you said, like, obviously you have her 50% of the time. You want to make the most of these moments. What's something that you guys have done together recently that made you so happy and you had such a great time?
We went
Okay, Zane, pick an activity. Just pick an activity.
to Nickelodeon in New Jersey, which was
so fun.
Really good. I enjoyed it. I know it's like super childish, but like I had a lot of fun. Yeah, I think I had more fun than it was good.
That is so good. How is co-parenting going?
Co-parenting is good. Yeah, we have a really good relationship for Kai. She's the main importance.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going well.
Yeah. Okay.
I think for me, yeah.
Okay, so
It could be awkward. Yeah, they're not fighting. I'm sure the pick up and drop offs are, all right, here's your daughter. All right, everything. Yeah, good. Here's the diaper bag. All right, see you in a week. Or what? Like, they're not like having Thanksgiving dinner together. It's just a cordial, what do you call it? Not cordial, whatever that word is. Mutual, it's amicable exchanges. Like, that's what he's saying. Yeah, we're not high-fiving each other when we, it's just pick up, drop off, and sure. I've been through divorce. I know what it's like. So you can't fight every time you drop off, pick up the kid. It's not good for the kid, obviously. So we just co-parent, and I trust her, she trusts me, but we have separate lives outside of our relationship now. It's a very dangerous question too, because let's say it was tumultuous. He's not going to say anything. He's like, yeah, I hate her. She's a real bitch.
it's a weird, this last third of the video is really focused on him and his kids, and it just feels like
there's a lot of questions about the kid. A lot of questions.
Is this as important as you're making it out to be? I guess I don't see Zayn going, I'd really like to just answer lots of questions about my kid.
I'd be
language he's giving back.
Weird about it. It's almost like she's surprised that a celebrity would have a child. Or it's like, we get it. Like, it's, again, no offense to Zayn, it's the human experience. Children, it's a wonderful experience, but it's very shared. Like, no offense to Zayn, but he hasn't shared anything about child rearing that I couldn't have told you. I'm just saying, she's acting like this is some amazing revelation that a dad is a good dad. Cool, good, happy to hear he's a good dad.
I want to ask you if I can ask one question.
I want to ask you if I could ask one question. If there could be here's the question.
Just about, like, as delicately as I can go about it, I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask about the 2021 incident.
Okay.
I know you can't really
all right, here we go. This is her Larry King moment. This is her big Oprah moment. Here we go. So the 2021 incident, do we know what it is before she asks off the top of her head?
Because this is where when we started our One Direction journey, we started talking about, and we knew a little bit about how Zayn, there was some kind of a fight where he hit his girlfriend, remember?
Oh, that was it. Okay, you're right. I think it's exactly what that's right. There were some charges. That's the same co-parent probably is who she. Okay, so let me just go back a bit. Here we go. Here we go. She's going in deep, but he already knows this question's coming because there's no way.
The 2021 incident.
Okay.
I know you can't really speak on it. I think obviously as a man, you like there was a lot out there said about you, and you basically took the high road and didn't say anything, and you put out that blanket statement of just like, I want to respect my daughter and not say anything.
Exactly, yeah.
And I can imagine how difficult it is, like almost a culmination of everything we're talking about today of like, how do you balance when something is out there about you, about your character, that people are reading and speculating and saying things about you, and how do you decide when to speak up and when to be silent and like chill on it and not really go there?
Yeah, so for me, like we were talking.
He knew this question was coming. Not to say that he has a written statement, so to speak, but there's no way knowing Zayn the way we do, he's right into it. He's got an answer ready to go. Like he's got an explanation right away, ready to go. She's making it seem like it's off the cuff question. I think that's part of the word salad that she's doing here. I think she's play acting a little bit like, all right, I don't want to really bring this up, but it wouldn't be fair to my fans or the listeners if we didn't ask these tough questions.
Right.
She's trying to sell. Zayn knows exactly what she was going to ask or whatever, how she was going to do it. I don't think he knew it was going to be so word salady, but this is not a surprise to him. His whole body language indicated that he was just waiting for the finish so he could get, he goes right into the answer. Okay, here we go.
Talking about earlier, I don't tend to get involved when people say things online, whether it's got something to do with me or whether it doesn't, because for me,
something I learned about body language, when people blink frequently, that shows their anxiety level is high. Okay. And I want you to just go back and watch Zayn's reaction. Just go back a tiny little bit. Watch how frequently he blinks.
Yeah, so for me, like we were talking about earlier, I don't tend to get involved when people say things online, whether it's got something to do with me or whether it doesn't. Because for me, my most valuable thing that I have in life is time. And that takes so much time in a toxic environment. Explain yourself.
He knows he's going to answer this, but it's tough.
Justify this. And so I just keep to myself. I knew what the situation was. I knew what happened. And the people involved knew what happened too. And that's all I really cared about. If anybody of a sane mind would look at the situation, I believe that you could respect that. I just didn't want to bring attention to anything. I just wasn't trying to get into a negative back and forth with.
You don't want to do a Blake Lively in that director situation?
Oh, gee.
That's what he's actually saying. He didn't know that was going to happen in the future. Or Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation. He had an incident. Look, I don't know the whole story. Let's just pretend he's just as guilty as whatever it was. Whatever. That's what he's trying to say is, hey, I had a situation. It was a private matter. It remains private. Whatever, they know what happened. I know what happened. The tabloids and the media and the people online are going to say what they're going to say. He's right. By saying nothing, just don't say it. Don't bring it to the public court anymore that's already been brought. So that's a very good play. Again, you're going to have this Blake Lively, like, I don't want to know about Blake Lively and the stupid director. I'm sick of hearing about it, but it's in my feed all the time. I'm not even asking for it. Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, like, shut up. If anything, like people are divorcing right now around the world or suing, or thankfully I don't hear about everyone. So it's again part of the celebrity world. I know it's like maybe we shouldn't have heard about this situation. It's got nothing to. It actually has nothing to do with me and you. Nothing. Just like when
it also has nothing to do with the quality of his music, the ability to sing. Like all of these questions are. It's funny that she's asking them just because I think I don't know. An interview.
This is the first interview in 6 years, and that's what she says. So before this interview happened, they had a precursor discussion. She said, "I am going to bring up the because if I don't, why are we doing this interview?" And that's what she said. Oh, the fans will be disappointed. Okay, fair enough. She's not wrong. But what I'm saying is, he knew it was. There's no way in hell he didn't know that was coming up. There's just no way. That's why he's here today. That's why this is at the end. This is the Titanic sinking at the end part of the film, whatever part of we've got to this point now. Everyone's waiting for the ad revenue to be the last part of this interview.
For any sort of narrative online where my daughter was going to look back and read that and be able to read into it, and it would just be something that there was no point. I believe I dealt with it in the best way, in an amicable, respectful way, and that's all that needs to be said. Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of negativity.
I can only imagine, first of all, no fucking family is perfect, and so to be on the stage that you guys are on,
and like you said, your family issues, like if something happens in the family, like I'd rather keep that between the family. You don't need a whole audience of people and opinions, because it's hard enough to manage between two.
I more so just also...
That's exactly what we were saying. Agreed. Oh, headline, Ryan Rebalkin yells at his kid in the parking lot. Is he fit to be a parent during these trials? Okay, would you shut... So it's the price of fame. I get it. They're millionaires. They have private chefs. But the flip side is...
I wanted to give you the chance because I think you obviously handled it so amicably. I also think in doing my job, this is a podcast where I'm trying to support women, right? And reading headlines, I wanted to hear from you, obviously, because hearing you even today, I don't know if, like, I'm just going to say what it is. Like, you have said...
I'm here to support women, so I have a derogatory statement to call her daddy. Like, that's just funny. Like, I know what she's saying, because her audience is probably... I'm being conservative. It's probably 80% female. So she's saying, look, you may have gotten to some sort of physical scuffle with a woman. I have an audience of women listening. What do you have to say about the situation? And he didn't say anything. And I'm not saying that's bad or good. I'm saying he shared just as much now as he shared before. He said, I didn't say anything. That's how I handled it. And I haven't said anything here. Yeah. And so she's like doubling down, saying, I just had to address it because my audience that gives me $60 million, they would be very mad at me if I didn't bring it up. Fair enough. All right.
Said you have 50% custody, and so anything that we've all read online, if that was true, then that would have affected that.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think it's important to just say, me doing my job, I just wanted to clarify, it's not, unless you can correct me, you don't have to have people with you while you're with your daughter and visitation rights. Like, you have custody of your child.
Yeah.
So I think it's just important to say, because people are reading this shit being like, oh my,
yeah,
you know
no,
what
for
I mean?
sure, yeah, and I'm super full on, hands on with my child every chance I can.
I strangle her like Homer does Bart Simpson. I'm hands on. No, I know what she's saying again. She's covering her own butt for her market.
Yeah, because when
Zayn leaves,
are going to go, you didn't ask him the hard questions.
That's right.
Yeah,
because Zayn's going to leave. And he's going to have his millions, and she still has to run her program, her job. And so she's speaking to her audience. I asked, we just want to be clear. And she's also saying, and you have full custody. You're not monitored because you're not a violent, crazy person. Yes, we didn't. I don't know who would have thought that, but that's what she's also sharing is you have full custody. You don't have, what do you call it? Supervised visits. That's right. You don't have those things. Yeah.
If I could get 60%, I would have it. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your music. You're coming back.
Yeah, there's like a minute left.
No, can we get back to what was your second most favorite activity with your daughter this week?
We're getting a song. Tell me what inspired the song. What can we expect? Give it to me.
Yeah, so I've been working on my record for a minute.
Yeah, he's done.
And I have a single for the summer coming out called Love Like This that's like a standalone song. Just a summer jam. It's a good vibe. Yeah, it just feels like summer.
That's what I think we need.
We do need a good summer jam.
We just need a bop. Someone asked me recently, oh, what's the song of summer? And I actually said, you know what? I'm interviewing someone and I know they have a single coming out and I have a feeling that could be the song of summer. Are you nervous to go on stage alone?
I was, yeah. Like when I first started performing by myself, I was nervous. And
Dynamite questions regarding the album coming up. Dynamite. Fans are ecstatic with that information. What's been the writing process been like? What's inspired you? What are some of the things we can expect? What are some of the instrumentations we can look for? Who have you been working with? Have you collaborated with these people for a long time?
What are some of your inspirations? Who are some of the background? Where do you go when you need inspiration for your song?
I need a bop.
I'm still...
Okay, I'm not an interviewer and I'm not worth $60 million, but my idea of a good interview, Nathan, is put yourself in the audience of the listener, what do they want to hear the person you're interviewing say? What is it they want to hear? You have to get them there, right? Hey, we have One Direction and Zayn fans listening to the show. What is it they want to hear from Zayn? I got to get that stuff. I got to squeeze what I can. I got to navigate some sensitive topics. I might tell them before, hey, we're going to talk about that incident. We're going to talk about why you didn't come out with what you came out with. I want you to let fans know why you didn't say anything. We're going to talk about your daughter. And of course, we're going to talk about your album. That'll be the majority of it. But we just want fans to know that you're happy. Your daughter's happy. You're having a good life. But we're going to navigate some sensitive stuff. You okay with XYZ? Cool. All right, let's go. Let's do it. All right.
I'm nervous now because it's been a few years that I've been on stage, but I have this like energy too. Like I feel like I have something to give, and I want to get on stage and be there again and feel that. That's one thing I can say. Like my fan base has always been supportive in that manner. They're always just, we're here, we've got you. Like when you're ready, we've got you. Come, we're gonna come and listen to your tunes. So yeah, I gotta be super thankful for that, and I'm super grateful, and I feel that love for sure. So I'm ready to prove these people right.
Can we expect any music inspired by your daughter on your records?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm doing a record.
If you have another kid, can we expect another album? What happens if that kid can't sing? What are you gonna do? Are you still gonna paint with them?
I don't think people are really gonna expect. It's a different sound for me, and it's got some like more narrative going on, like real life experiences and stuff. So yeah, my daughter's mentioned it a couple of times.
Love the album.
Wow. I think that's going to be so fucking dope to actually hear from you in long form, essentially, because an album is in long form. Like we're going to get to know you more.
Oh my gosh.
Which is exciting again, because Mr. Mysterious over there, we're still trying to understand Zayn. Okay, what is something that you want your fans to take away from this interview?
That I should have never come here in the first place. That this was a mistake.
I'd like my fans to feel like they got to know me a bit, because you keep saying I'm Mr. Mysterious. So,
You've been open. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, so I'm
He doesn't like that. You keep bringing it up. You keep bringing it up. Mm-hmm. I hope my fans got to learn more. You know what he's saying? Because I didn't share much because your questions suck. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't have to say that. He could say, here's the thing. If it was an engaging, informative interview, his answer would have been, I feel like my fans got to know me a little bit more, and I think they're going to be excited about the album that we talked about. Something. Yeah. Like he actually says, I hope they learn something, because you keep saying I'm mysterious.
I'm hoping they got to know me a little bit, and they feel like they've seen me and caught up with me a bit, and they're going to see me a lot more. And I want them to know that, like, across the board, like, I've had a full, like, mental rehaul, and in the best way, thanks to my child and being able to see things in a different light. And I'm going to be a lot more present, and hopefully people are going to see me a lot more.
I love it.
Yeah.
Zayn, thank you so much for coming on Call Her Daddy. This was truly a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
I think Zayn could, if he almost needs like a publicist that looked at that and went, okay, let's avoid anything even close to that. And let's see if we can get somebody who will be really a lot better chemistry between the two of you. So we can actually see more of that Zayn. Because in the moments when he was allowing that side to come out, she just did it, gave it the, oh, cool, that's awesome kind of treatment, which isn't really validating for him to just hear that sort of superficial validation. And I think if he could have an interviewer that really was genuinely interested and gave him, oh, we've done a couple of interviews. I'm trying to think of the one that we...
Yeah, right here. The CEO. That guy was great with Liam. That's a very top-notch interviewer, that guy, the CEO guy. Like he's
something like that where he gets to feel like he's actually being listened to, but also given that opportunity to say what he feels comfortable saying instead of kind of boxed into.
Yeah, people are going to hate me in particular. There's going to be a lot of her fans that are going to hate me. I'm sorry. Look, it's not for everybody. Here's the thing. If you truly think our criticisms of her interview styles and her questions and the way she worded things is legit, please state why. I want to hear why. Don't just say your opinion sucks. Cool. I want to hear why you found her questioning and the way she talks and the way she does this. I'm just curious, like, what it is that draws you in. I'm actually legit, like, I like the word salads and the random cursing to keep it, like, adult. I want to hear what it is that engages you as a fan. I'm actually legitimately curious because me watching for the first time was actually, it wrecked it for me because I like Zayn and I wanted to hear him on. Speaking of Zayn, Zayn Lowe is a good interviewer. We've done him as well. These are very good interviewers, and I'm not just picking males. These are coming from our Patreon chat and from females giving those suggestions. But there's some great. Zach Sang's another good one too. Another great. Yeah, we've seen those individuals do great jobs with people. But again, she's worth $60 million. We're worth $6. All right. Hey. All right. This was fun in a lot of different ways, but yes, at the end of the day, it was really great seeing Zayn being in a good place. I'm very happy he's in a good place with his daughter. I'm glad things are cordial between him and the mother of his child. So I'm happy that they're good, that they're in a place where they can just move on. We shouldn't be defined by our past, like mistakes. We can all have a whatever moment in our life that shouldn't define your whole personality in your life. He's right. He's a good father to his daughter. That's the important thing. His girlfriend or wife or whatever, it didn't work out. It was volcanic. Hey, it happens. Move on. Let's move on. Yeah. All right.
Yep. All right. Cool. Thanks, everybody. This has been a lot of fun. I'm glad that people enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, of course, you're going to voice your opinion, and that's fine too. But if you want to stick around, we'll see you in the next one.